when he blinks in sheer disbelief, staring at an endless, scorching sea of sand. He stands there, utterly bewildered by his sudden change of scenery. Relieving himself in public surely shouldn't warrant a punishment this extreme. No warning, just a one-way ticket to the dunes. He'd gladly pay a 5-unit fine to go back. As he stands there confused, a gentle voice echoes down from the sky. She introduces herself as the Blue Star Mother, powerless to stop the coming war. With her protection ending, she warns everyone to engrave her next words in their hearts. She explains that this brutal new world faces a massive natural disaster every 7 days. The first trial will be an extreme night, with temperatures dropping below -50. Because of this, everyone must upgrade their shelter as fast as humanly possible. They need to gather resources by day and stay inside once the sun sets. Going out at night is suicide unless they already possess serious personal strength. She tells them to upgrade their shelters into villages and eventually massive cities. Only then can they establish a foothold. Finally, she reveals she will sacrifice herself. She promises to delay their enemies to buy them time, praying for their survival. Suddenly, a massive ball of blue light expands and explodes across the horizon. Countless tiny glowing blue specks rain down, entering the bodies of every survivor. A stray wisp settles deep inside his chest, flashing a message directly in his mind. He unlocked an ancestral farming talent, a strange skill for this empty wasteland. Since the ground is empty, the system asks him, why not plant something down there? This intensive farming talent works exclusively on vegetable patches or seedling plots. Usable once per day during sowing, it cuts crop maturation times exactly in half. He stares at the sky, highly indignant. He barely took a leak and their guardian exploded. How is any of this logical? Sighing deeply, he begins to inspect his surroundings. There is literally nothing but sand. Not a single blade of grass is visible. Absolutely zero signs of life, except for a tiny oasis sitting right at his feet. Measuring just 100 square meters, the tiny patch is completely overgrown with weeds. In the exact center is a basin-sized puddle. As he stares, a system prompt appears. It is a micro-spring, slowly producing a small amount of fresh water daily. This tiny water source is the absolute foundation of the oasis's survival. Apparently, each micro-spring can expand the oasis area by another 100 square meters. At the edge stands a thick hanging tree, its trunk over a meter wide. Its lush branches throw actual shade over a heavily dilapidated thatched hut. Inside the drafty, ruined hut is a basic stone axe and a survival handbook. A few drops of water, a cheap axe, a broken hut, and himself. That is the absolute sum of his entire inventory in this new life. Honestly, most people would give up right here, but he picks up the survival handbook, hoping it will help him survive. The first page shows a ticking countdown, exactly 11 hours and 56 minutes left of daylight. The construction interface is completely grayed out due to a lack of blueprints. Upgrading his thatched hut to a wooden house requires 200 wood. He also needs 50 stone, 50 dry grass, and an F-rank treasure. His heart sinks, the oasis is bare, and the only wood is that single tree. But cutting down his only shade will cause his precious water source to evaporate. Chopping it down means choosing between dying of extreme heat or dying of dehydration. On top of that, he has to sacrifice an F-rank treasure he does not even own. The pressure crushes him for a moment. Next is the world and regional trade channels. Both of those are totally inactive and empty. The third page shows private chats. Fourth is the world chat. 7.8 billion people from Blue Star are here. Every single human is packed into one locked room. After that comes regional chat. 10,000 people are here with absolutely no restrictions. The text is already scrolling, so fast it becomes a complete blur. Everyone wonders if that voice they heard was real, bragging about their blessings. One got a useless E-rank iron axe, another got a D-rank cotton quilt. Someone in the frozen lands scored an F-rank well, many beg for food. Desperate survivors even offer themselves to anyone who can save them from swamps. One tries trading black stockings for 100 wood, earning instant mockery. Chopping trees for 10 minutes only yields 2 wood units. He reads enough to confirm. Everyone received different items, mostly tailored to their specific environments. Most got F or E-rank items. He figures the Blue Star Mother was deliberate. Giving him farming makes sense, since this barren desert offers almost nothing else. Only direct farming will keep him alive, but here is the problem. Farming requires soil, seedlings, and proper fertilizer. he has absolutely none. Nothing will fall from the sky. He refills his water bottle at the puddle. Grabbing the stone axe from his handbook, he decides to head directly east. The other directions are just flat, endless dunes, but the east holds a mountain. The harsh desert gives him a brutal lesson the second he leaves his oasis. The sun beats down relentlessly, making his skin sting even through his jacket. Every breath of hot air scalds his lungs, the heavy sand beneath him. Feels like boiling syrup, making every step slow and agonizing. He has no actual thermometer, but between the direct sun and the burning sand, it feels easily like 50 degrees Celsius. He is walking inside a giant oven. Holding his jacket up as a shield, he trudges onward for 20 agonizing minutes. Suddenly, he spots a wooden treasure chest tucked under a dune and rushes over. Praying silently for a miracle, he approaches and slowly pries open the lid. Inside lies another specialized farming tool, alongside some incredibly bizarre items. Alongside stockings and pads, yes, really, there is a large wooden compost bin. This F-rank treasure lets him ferment raw materials to produce vital fertilizer. Better ingredients yield far superior fertilizer, a crucial shortcut for his survival. It can push his status from ordinary to F-rank. It pairs flawlessly. He was hesitating to fully commit to farming before because of the cost. But seeing this bin completely changes things. His path is set. He will farm even if he has to sell every single thing he owns. He will grow crops until the end of time, until the oceans dry completely. Otherwise, his special talent and this bin go completely to waste. Once he cools off, he groans at how incredibly heavy these items are. He could try listing them at a massive price just to store them. But listing items costs a 1% handling fee, killing that exploit. He stares down at the empty chest, weighing his options carefully. Breaking it down yields 1 wood, but it is too useful to destroy. Too useful to destroy, so he dumps everything right into. The compost bin tears his jacket to strips, ties it to his back, and starts walking. The bin is huge, weighing about 20-odd caddies. Easy to carry but highly awkward to pack, the trip back that should have taken 20 minutes takes over half an hour because of constant rest breaks. By the time he reaches the oasis, he is sunburned crimson, salt from sweat. Crusts his dry clothes, he dumps the bin, waiting to stop sweating. Then douses himself at the puddle, while resting quietly under the shade. He ties the cloth strips to the chest, making a backpack, and uses dried hanging branches to frame a small grass awning over it for sun shade. He fills the chest with water for the next trip, but drinking from it is awkward, so he tears a sanitary pad off his pack to soak up water and squeeze it into his mouth, much easier than using hands, plus it wipes his face. A little dirt does not matter when he is just trying to survive. With the sun shade set up, the dunes feel completely different. He is riding high now. On finding a chest so fast and scoring an F-rank treasure on day 1, he jokes to his own shadow about having a touch of Ning-Ka luck in him, wondering what is waiting. On the mountain ahead, it looks close but takes a solid half hour to reach. Up close, it is only about 200 meters tall and severely weathered. Covered in loose stones with sparse shrubs on the slopes, and nothing but camel thorn and cactus at the shaded base. His heart sinks. The mountain is way too barren, just rock and no real resources. Then he spots 3 dromedary camels grazing calmly on cactus nearby, focusing his gaze on the tallest of the 3. He pulls up its stats: a swift camel, an F-rank creature and king. With boosted stamina and speed, it is peaceful, but those teeth and hooves become deadly weapons if threatened. It runs 10 kilometers on just a couple handfuls of grass. Only this F-rank one is truly special. The other 2 are totally ordinary, but he is still incredibly envious. Camels are the ships of the desert. They have massive endurance, eat little, and would solve his transport issues forever, but these giants stand over 2.5 meters tall at the shoulder, weighing nearly 1,700 caddies, far too massive to pick a fight. With he sighs, wishing he could tame one, and prepares to slip away when his eyes suddenly light up. The ground is covered in dried camel dung, and some of it is actually F-rank fertilizer material. He drops his wooden chest, gulps down the remaining water, and begins scooping up the rare F-rank dung. Dry camel dung is basically just grass clippings, zero odor. Back on his home planet, people use it for cooking fuel, so he has no mental blocks about gathering it. Within minutes, his chest is full and almost weightless. Easy. He laughs at himself for using an actual treasure chest to scoop up animal waste. he has to be the only survivor doing this. Over an hour later, he stumbles back to the oasis, too exhausted to even. Sweat carrying dung meant he had absolutely no room for water, leaving him utterly parched. He drags himself to the puddle, gulps down water, and rests for a few minutes before slowly shoveling the pile into his compost bin. It only fills half of the bin, but the system screen flashes, F-rank material fermenting. 5 hours, that is the countdown for 5 F-grade fertilizers. A bit of an awkward wait, so he cannot just sit around. Even with his body falling apart, he drags himself back out. 4 more grueling trips, 2 of them just for 50 stones. And 2 more for camel dung from the base of that mountain. He fills 3 heavy boxes, but the supply still looks completely endless. To test things fairly, he also ferments a batch of normal dung. The results are amazing. Normal fertilizer increases standard crop yields by 20%. But F-grade fertilizer on normal crops doubles that bonus to 40%. The catch is both his talent and the fertilizer only work during sowing. The big question is simple: do these 2 insane buffs actually stack? Normal seeds on the trade channel take 7 days to fully mature. But if they stack, that time collapses to just under 17 hours. While others harvest once a week, he would be harvesting every single day. His starting point is essentially everyone else's finish line. The farming soul thrashes. He cannot wait anymore. He needs vegetable plots, seedling trays, and seeds. He wants to farm right now. He sits under the trees to calm down. He takes stock: 1 stone axe, 50 stones, and some sanitary pads. Plus a pair of stockings, 5 regular fertilizers, and fresh water. The 5 F-grade fertilizers are easily his most valuable assets right now. They are the only items worth putting up on the trade market. Selling raw materials is a sucker's game, but he is completely broke. So fertilizer it is, especially since he can gather more dung tomorrow. The priority now is buying seeds and setting up a vegetable patch. If his theory holds, he will have a continuous food supply starting tomorrow. Since the world channels are still locked, he opens the regional trade market. Almost every single listing is a desperate, screaming request for basic food. Actual food listings are incredibly rare, so he searches for fertilizer instead. Tons of people want it, offering basic wood and stone in exchange. But absolutely nobody is selling. Talk about an absolute goldmine opportunity. This is fantastic news for him. Next, he checks the regional chat. It is pure despair. People are offering gold necklaces for 50 grams of meat. Others offer huge cash sums for 1 single bite, alongside dying wishes. They mock their dead world, while others get bitten by deadly snakes. Some dig for yams all day and end up with just a root. A few even poison themselves eating tree bark, and treasure chests yield trash. Everyone is complaining, trapped by dangerous predators like jackals and crocodiles. These beast encounters keep them entirely unable to safely fish or forage. The entire regional chat is just one massive scream for food. It confirms exactly what he suspected: food is the ultimate hard currency here. Suddenly, a user named Joe Rang posts an offer that detonates the chat. He is selling 50 grams of fish for 50 units of wood. He also wants fertilizer, and the entire channel immediately starts begging. Our main character sends a private message asking what he can offer. Joe asks for the stats first, then instantly dials him for a voice call. After gathering resources all day, he finally finds a potential buyer who asks how he wants to sell. He throws out a test price of 150 grams of fish meat per unit of fertilizer. But the buyer only pays 100 grams for ranked treasures, claiming our guy's price is way too high. He says just 1 unit matures crops 36 hours early and boosts yields by 20%. It is just as valuable as any ranked treasure, especially since he is currently the only fertilizer seller in the entire market, making his asking price completely reasonable. The buyer hesitates for a moment before offering the 150 grams if he commits to 10 units daily. Our guy refuses instantly, as his production is too low and he needs it for himself. They haggle back and forth, finally settling on 1 whole fish weighing no less than 600 grams per unit of fertilizer. Their first trade is 5 units of ordinary fertilizer for a single sea fish that weighs just over 600 grams. Then he presses, asking if the buyer has spare vegetable patches or seedling plots since he wants fertilizer. The man laughs and admits he does, but warns that vegetable patches are expensive since they grow grains. Seedling plots only grow trees, so those can be had for much cheaper. In response, our guy quietly sends over the stats for his F-grade fertilizer. The buyer curses out loud at how incredible the quality is, demanding to know why he hid it. Before setting a strict limit of 1 vegetable patch and 2 seedling plots at most. These plots are incredibly rare, but with his daily talent limit, 1 plot is more than enough for now. He quickly thanks the man, who immediately raises a new condition. He wants 5 units of F-grade fertilizer a day. Our guy simply chuckles, explaining that this high-grade fertilizer requires massive amounts of F-grade raw materials. If the buyer provides the materials, they can split the output 50-50, otherwise he can only sell whatever spare batches he happens to make since the base output is just too low. The buyer sounds disappointed, but he ultimately accepts, after another round of heavy bargaining. They settle on 4 units of F-grade fertilizer in exchange for 1 vegetable patch, 2 seedling plots, and 4 extra fish weighing nearly 700 grams each. That leaves him with plenty of solid meat. He quickly trades the 5 fish away to get the materials needed for upgrading his wooden house, alongside some seeds and daily supplies. Food is absolute king here. Since the trade channels are dry, he posts in the public chat, offering fish meat in exchange for seeds and asking anyone with stock to send a private message. His public call brings 0 seeds, but trust me, it attracts an absolute weirdo instead. A survivor named Lee Jun responds, calling our guy boss and claiming he has every seed imaginable. He promises a beautiful price of only 100 grams of fish meat per batch. Our protagonist's face twitches in disbelief. He has no idea if these seeds are real. But the guy is undeniably a massive pervert, listing off famous adult film actresses as his teachers. Instantly, the chat pivots, with everyone demanding to know how Lee Jun plans to deliver these digital seeds. After all, there are no computers or internet connections in this survival world. Another survivor helpfully suggests that since all of humanity got transported here from Earth, Lee Jun should just track down those famous actresses himself, see if they are willing to resume their old profession and stream a live performance for our guy to watch. Someone declares this a golden business opportunity, and the public chat quickly fills with hundreds of spam replies wanting a piece of the action. Realizing the channel is completely derailed, our guy slips away to check his private messages. The lure of actual food is massive right now, drawing over 99 unread messages and friend requests from freeloaders, forcing him to filter them by the keyword for seeds. He narrows it down to over 200, filters out those without details, and ends up with just 30 coming from the Dragon Country. His absolute staple foods are rice and wheat. After checking each listing, he spots one seller offering 10 dryland rice seeds, demanding 1,000 grams of fish meat. After some hard haggling, they settle on 850. The system description says this dryland rice matures every 7 days, sweet and fragrant, making it a top-tier choice for a staple food. What really shocks him is how this dryland rice is the size and weight of an egg. Each single grain weighs at least 30 grams. The actual yield is still unknown, but if it behaves like back home, where each stalk produces hundreds of grains, he will be laughing all the way to sleep. With his patch and seeds ready, his grand farming journey begins. Time for a quick test. Planting right in the oasis works, but his talent skill will not trigger. And growth takes 6 long months. The special vegetable patch is different, allowing 10 seeds to be planted anywhere. Since the patch is too precious to leave outside, he places it in the corner of his hut. He sows the 10 seeds, fertilizing them with F-rank fertilizer, waters the soil, and casts intensive farming. The patch status reads: high moisture and fertility, countdown 16 hours and 47 minutes 59 seconds. His talent and fertilizer stack, cutting growth time by 90% for a daily harvest, with food prices set to skyrocket for a while. This crazy combo lets him hoard resources, gain F-rank treasures, and completely outpace every other survivor. Starting with tomorrow's first harvest, his food and water security is officially guaranteed. His mood is absolutely soaring. To celebrate this milestone, he pulls out 2 fish to cook up some hot soup. As the sun dips below the desert horizon, the temperature drops by over 10 degrees in an instant. Freezing cold follows a brutal daytime heat. He darts inside, purchasing some basic clay pots, bowls, and ladles from the market. For 180 grams of fish meat, he fills a pot, lights a bonfire inside, and begins scaling and gutting his meal. During the prep, he realizes that with such extreme temperature shifts, sleeping on simple dry grass is a fast track to getting sick. Checking the market for blankets, he finds absolutely nothing listed, so he starts broadcasting an offer, trading fresh fish meat for warm bedding, those who have it private. Message him immediately. Once again, the chat goes absolutely wild over the trade. Starving people offer anything, desperate for even discarded fish bones or entrails. Their hands trembling with hunger, while he only wants basic bedding. They are drooling over the discarded scraps he would have thrown away back home. Trash that even animals would ignore is now treated like a luxury feast. This harsh world really changes people fast. Then, an unbelievable message pops up. A survivor named Yu Chenny contacts him, calling him boss, claiming to have an F-rank treasure. In exchange for some basic fish waste, he is willing to hand the treasure over. He thinks his eyes are playing tricks on him. An F-rank treasure is incredibly valuable. The kind of game-changing item that helps a survivor truly succeed, just like his compost bin, which creates precious fertilizer whenever he collects camel dung. Trading that fertilizer built his entire wealth, proving how overpowered an F-rank item really is. In chat, players are desperately trying to buy them. Starting at 100 grams of pure meat, with prices climbing rapidly. Yet here is Yu Chenny, offering one up for mere scraps. Entrails, Jin Hun suspects the guy is playing games, then he sends the item info. Before he can even ask, he opens the window and stares. It is a circular stone. Chip an F-rank treasure, a divine artifact for skipping stones. It can skip at least 100 times when thrown. The description warns that he will definitely experience the ultimate thrill of skipping stones. Talk about a useless divine artifact. For skipping stones, gone once thrown, but then he remembers that upgrading his thatched hut to a wooden house requires sacrificing an F-rank treasure. Perfect. Sacrificing this useless rock is dirt cheap anyway. No heartache here. He rushes the trade before the guy can reconsider. On his end, Yu Changi only realizes, after confirming the trade, that Jin Hun gave him way more than he asked, both fish scales and entrails, even though he only requested one. Now he hesitates. Should he keep quiet and keep the extra, or admit it and return it all? He chooses honesty. Being poor is fine, but lacking ambition is not, so he messages Jin Hun, admitting there are too many fish scales and entrails and only needs half. Honestly, finding someone this honest in a survival game is a miracle. The guy is just built different. He explains that he killed 2 fish and never said it was just 1 fish's worth. Yu Changi apologizes, but Jin Hun tells him not to feel burdened at all. The circular stone is an F-rank treasure after all. He should accept it. He thanks Jin Hun profusely, promising to repay him in the future. At his insistence, Jin Hun accepts the friend request, making him the second name on his list after Zhou Rang. Next, he exchanges fish for 500 units of wood, stone, and dry grass. He wants to buy more, but his oasis is simply too small to hold it all. With the materials ready, he opens his survival handbook and confirms the upgrade. A blinding flash, the materials and the stone chip vanish. The cramped hut is gone, replaced by a wooden house with a thatched roof and log walls, 30 square meters. That is more than double. A stone fire pit sits right in the center, with dry grass for sleeping, solid log walls. All the gaps are packed tight, with moss completely airtight. Real security, just as he is gearing up to double his efforts and continue upgrading. A message pops into his private chat. It congratulates the chosen one, Yak Jin Hun, for becoming the 631,252nd to upgrade to a wooden house. The first 1 million get a wooden treasure chest. Glowing chest appears right in front of him. He opens it up. Rattan basket, an obsidian knife, a wooden table, and a self-heating blanket. The item description says it is an F-rank treasure that can amplify absorbed heat by 5 times. The release level is fully adjustable, but the system warns against being too passionate, or he might literally melt. It is basically an enhanced electric blanket, perfect for the extreme cold night coming in a few days. But then he opens the book for the next upgrade, dumbfounded. The next tier stonehouse requires 1,000 stone, 300 wood, 100 lime, plus the sacrifice of 5 F-rank treasures, 5 of them pure daylight robbery. The stonehouse does come with proper rooms, a courtyard, fence, and a cellar that can store a massive amount. It is worth it, but still. With night falling, he scans the chat. No betting, absolutely nothing. He posts a trade offer, betting for fresh fish meat. Send offers now. He makes it clear that if there is no betting, there will be no deal whatsoever. His response is pure sarcasm. Buy it or don't. Is he just flexing his fish Wang Haiyang mocks him, asking what there is to even be proud of in this place. Others agree, fish are too smelly anyway. He is too tired to argue. Some people just love crying sour grapes. He goes to close his chat. Suddenly, Yu Changji jumps in. He defends him. Eating fish takes real strength. Why does he care? If you are so capable, go catch some yourself instead of barking here. Wang Haiyang sneers. Oh look, it is the big spender who traded rare treasures. He swapped epic gear for worthless fish guts. Truly ridiculous. Yu Changji fires right back, boasting he has plenty of rank treasures to throw around. He loves being a big spender. What right does Wang Haiyang even have? He keeps pressing him hard. If you are so great, where is your rank? This completely triggers Wang Haiyang. What is a number? Yu Changji explains it is a special upgrade rank. It shows exactly how many people upgraded their houses before you did. Only the first 1 million players in the entire world get to claim one of these. Numbered accounts get special perks like pinned messages and customized text. Yu Changji's ID reads 583911. His own ID reads 631252, which is his exact rank. He had assumed Yu Changji was struggling. Instead, the guy upgraded first. Never judge a book by its cover. This explanation completely sets the chat on fire. Everyone wants one. Recruitment ads start flooding the chat. Everyone wants in. One group boasts their leaders have ranks under 10,000. They promise to help new members level up quickly. He simply shakes his head, closes the handbook, and starts making dinner. The moment he drops 2 fish into the boiling water, a low howling begins. Chilling noises echo outside. Instantly, he presses his eye to a tiny crack in the door. Seriously, how on earth did a pack of beasts like this end up here? Under the moonlight, over a dozen gaunt sandwolves circle the shelter. Their green eyes glow in the dark, desperate to find an opening. With no easy way in, they begin furiously gnawing at the wood. The horrific sound of teeth tearing into timber makes his stomach turn. Sharp claws scrape against the boards, sending a cold shiver down his spine. He cannot see them, so his frantic imagination takes over. He pictures the walls giving way, letting the beasts rip him to shreds. But maybe the thick logs will somehow hold. He desperately hopes the wolves will eventually tire out and leave him alone. Gripping his stone axe with white knuckles, he sits frozen in absolute fear. Every second feels like an eternity. Suddenly, the scratching stops. They are gone. He slumps to the floor, gasping for breath. Before this, he was just an ordinary office worker who hated leaving home. Back home, he just played games and read novels, the most gruesome thing he had ever seen was a dead cat on the road. In 25 years, this was the closest he had ever come to dying. Saying he was not terrified would be a lie after 10 minutes. Of recovery, he mutters about desert wolves, proving his mother was totally right about not going out at night. To make matters worse, his fish soup has boiled. Completely dry, he loses his appetite, gulps down the remaining fish, and lies down on the hay fully clothed, planning tomorrow's tasks to distract himself. His fertilizer is gone. He needs more dung tomorrow. The crop harvests around 1 in the afternoon, then warm clothes, bedding, and a spring, because his tiny oasis is too small to store anything. Next, proper weapons, since his stone axe is way too heavy, weak, and useless. He falls asleep in minutes. The night passes without incident. When he wakes up, the sky is faintly lit. His handbook says today has 2 hours less daylight than yesterday, only 10 hours. In total, less time means more urgency. He peeks through the door crack first, seeing nothing, and steps out to find the wooden wall covered in what looks like absolute horror, but it is actually just peeled bark. The logs themselves are mostly intact. Of course, thigh-thick logs would not easily yield to a dozen hungry sandwolves. He was just scaring himself last night. Still, he got lucky. Upgrading that old, rickety thatched hut would have made him easy wolf food. He washes up at the spring, stokes the fire pit, and roasts last night's fish. For breakfast, after eating, he grabs his axe, a clay water bottle, and heaves his storage chest onto his back. He pulls some desert wormwood from the oasis, then heads back to that small mountain. The sun is absolutely punishing. His arms and legs are completely red with sunburn, leaving his skin so sensitive that he trades some leftover fish bones for a wide-brimmed straw hat. An hour of brutal trudging brings him to the foot of the mountain, completely drenched in sweat. Those 3 camels are still hanging around, leisurely chewing on cactus. He drops his heavy axe and chest, clutches the wormwood, and approaches them as gently as he Yep, he is actively targeting these 3 camels, preparing to extend an evil hand, or rather, a friendly olive branch. Forcing them is not an option, so a real strategy is required. He has no clue how to tame camels, but he has raised dogs. New puppies must get used to your presence first. Then you close the distance with food, then a head pat, the same pattern. Works for dating. First you chat, get closer, and if you make first base, it is a big success. Talk about universal logic. At about 20 meters out, the 3 camels raise their heads and stare. Getting 3 giant beasts' undivided attention is pretty nerve-wracking, but fortune favors the bold, so he steadies his mind, stops, and gently shakes the green wormhood, pitching his offer in the softest voice possible. He tells them his company is recruiting camels, providing food, drinks, and lodging. The shift is only 12 hours, with occasional overtime. Would they like to come work for him? The 3 camels obviously have no idea what this weird 2-legged creature is babbling about, but that fresh wormhood smells delicious, so they start to gurgle back. He freezes, mouth half open. Well, he only wanted them to work for him, but they apparently want to be his brothers. Gurgle, gurgle, all right. Then brothers it is. Meet his 3 camel bros. This is the company's signature. He offers the dish to see if it suits their palate, gently placing the wormhood at his feet before backing away slowly. Once at a safe distance, he finally exhales. Negotiations went smoothly, and the 3 camel brothers are eagerly eating up the free hospitality, win over their stomachs, and he wins their hearts. After packing up another full chest of fresh dung, he heads back to the oasis with a light step, after 3 more friendly trips to the small mountain, exchanging wormhood employee benefits for a full chest of returned dung. The compost bin creates another half bucket of F-grade fertilizer, 5 units in total. His bond with the 3 camel brothers grows closer, shrinking their safe distance from 20 meters down to just 10, and at this rate he will be holding hands with a camel soon. By the time he makes the 3rd trip back, he is completely exhausted. He drops into the shade for a rest, timing it just right with a major breakthrough in his vegetable patch. After a night boosted by his skill in fertilizer, the dryland rice is fully ripe. The 10 plants have stems as thick as an adult arm, reaching an absurd 1.5 meters in height, each loaded with heavy ears. The ears are packed with grains as big as chicken eggs, plump and releasing a unique, sweet grain fragrance. This is the very first time he feels the true joy of harvesting here. His mood is absolutely electric. The sight of a single stalk loaded with a dozen giant egg-like grains pops into his head, and it is honestly hilarious. His only regret is that on Blue Star, a single ear yields at least 100 grains. Here each ear only has 14, with 10 as the base yield plus 4. From the F-grade fertilizer, 40% bonus. Still, 30 grams per grain is grams. That is 140 grams, or 8.5 caddies. He will eat half a caddy at most, keep 10 as seeds, and have over 7 caddies. For trade, at current market prices, 7 caddies of food is an absolute fortune, and he will get this every single day. No complaints here. He harvests all 10 plants, saves 10 grains as seeds, replants, waters, and adds fertilizer. The routine is now familiar. By 1:30 p.m., tomorrow's harvest is already set to grow. He peels the harvested grains, husking them by hand the simple way. Honestly, it is easier than undressing a girlfriend. The husked rice is white, plump, and gleaming like freshly peeled boiled eggs. He has been working hard all morning, tired and hungry. That sweet rice aroma instantly sparks his appetite. He throws 5 massive grains into a clay pot, and since this is his first time cooking rice this huge, he adds a full pot of water just to be safe. Even if it turns into porridge, it works. Over a roaring fire, the water boils and a rich, sweet aroma pushes the lid open, filling the entire room. His stomach rumbles in anticipation. Half an hour later, the egg-sized rice grains have swelled to palm size, looking like fluffy steamed buns. Testing them with chopsticks, they are perfectly soft and firm. Time to eat. He blows on a grain and takes a bite. The grain here is far softer, stickier, and sweeter than anything back on Blue Star. It tastes 10 times better. Even without any side dishes, he could easily eat 10 bowls, but he definitely overestimated his appetite. Just 3 grains and a bowl of thick soup leave him stuffed. Seeing 2 grains left, inspiration strikes. He snaps a photo of the pot using his survival handbook and posts it. He posts a picture to the chat, asking everyone to guess what it is. Egg, tofu, coconut, goose egg, ostrich egg. Everyone goes wild with guesses. Finally, our guy drops the real answer, and they are all dead wrong. That small grain is rice, and those two massive blocks are cooked rice. Wait for it, the chat is actually begging for his leftover dishwater. They plead for just a single sip of his leftover rice soup. Another user named Shinchi Huang demands a bowl for his final wish. The entire screen scrolls past in absolute disbelief at this incredible luxury. As he watches the madness, a private message pops up that catches his eye. A survivor has found wild strawberries and wants to trade for rice water. Our main character has plenty of staple food, but fresh produce is extremely rare. He cannot survive on plain meat and rice forever in this wasteland. Those wild strawberries are fragrant and perfect for getting some vital nutrients. He pours a fresh bowl of rice water and initiates the trade. Yesterday, Yu Chang'e defended him in the public chat when others attacked. Even if he did not say it out loud, he really appreciated the support. Besides, Yu Chang'e is an elite survivor who upgraded his cabin early. He might be struggling now, but he could be a great customer later. Trading small favors to build a solid relationship is highly cost-effective. On the other end, Yu Chang'e sees the trade and immediately panics. Wild strawberries are technically food, but he only has a dozen of them. They are not enough to fill anyone, making them very low value. He notices others offering 50 units of wood for some rice water. The extra food given last night was out of pure kindness, not duty. Instead of finding a way to repay him, he immediately asked for more. Talk about stressful, Yu Chang'e is terrified he just ruined a good thing. But right as he worries about being blocked, the trade goes through. The screen shows a full bowl of rich rice water with a grain of rice. He quickly sends a message saying he gave way too much for this. Our main character replies that the wild strawberries are absolutely worth the price. He thanks him for speaking up yesterday, but Yu Chang'e downplays it. He says it is fine, he cooked too much anyway, so just enjoy it. He tells him they are friends, a word that leaves Yu Chang'e stunned. As an abandoned deaf-mute orphan, he only knew a cold world. Yu Chang'e survived 20 years of constant neglect and bitter injustice. He faced endless discrimination at school, in jobs, and in relationships. Now he was stranded on a desolate peak with terrible altitude sickness. These brutal experiences forged a deeply sensitive but incredibly resilient spirit. He refused to ever break, remaining fiercely self-reliant. He used his basic iron pickaxe to mine stones day in and day out. He saved every scrap of resource to upgrade his cabin early. He already felt heavily indebted after the kind gesture from yesterday. Now, instead of getting annoyed, our main character sends a full bowl of rice water. He drops in a grain of rice and calls him a friend. Hearing that simple word triggers a profound warmth he has never felt. He had assumed the heavens abandoned him, but now, for the very first time, it feels like they are showing him mercy. He stares at the message. He asks if they are friends as tears start to fall. Main character has completely rewired this guy's entire emotional state. If he is sending one, he might as well send another. He trades Zhou Rang next, offering some rice water and giant grain to number 9527. He is top 10,000 in house upgrades and caught fish on day 1. A powerful contact worth keeping. Survival resources always concentrate with the strong. Getting good trades depends on whether guys like Zhou Rang are interested. Rang sends a voice call, totally stunned by the giant rice. When asked where it came from, our main character casually says he grew it. He plays it cool, claiming he just got lucky with a basic ripening skill. Rang complains about the sheer unfairness. He almost got eaten by a shark, while this guy just casually grows food in a single day. Rang is stuck on a tiny, garbage island made of nothing but reefs. Suddenly, he changes his tone, hinting he just found something incredible. He guarantees the main character will want it, and yes, he sends the details. It is a star crystal orange seed, an F-grade plantable. Eating these oranges permanently boosts physical strength up to F-grade level. It takes 30 days to grow. He never knew physical stats had grades. An F-grade fruit that actually upgrades your body is absolutely insane. With his quick cultivation talent and special fertilizer, this seed is a literal gold mine. He decides he must buy it no matter what, bracing for a massive price. But to his surprise, Zhou Rang smiles and refuses to take any money. He says they are like brothers now, charging him would feel wrong. But as we all know, nothing in this life is ever truly free. He asks the main character's age, finding out he is 25 years old. Rang is 28, telling the younger man to call him Big Brother Rang. Then things get serious. They both understand the extreme value of this seed. Before presenting his actual proposal, Rang needs to ask him one crucial question. If he provides an F-rank seedling plot and the seed, how long to harvest? Doing the quick math with his talents, it would take only 9 days. Rang is shocked, confirming the 50% speed boost works on F grade. If he knew it worked on all grades, he would probably faint. Rang apologizes for testing him and finally lays out the actual deal. A friend has the special plot, but instead of splitting the harvest 2 ways, he proposes a 3-way split, but our guy immediately pushes back. They have the plot and seed, but he contributes the fertilizer and skill. Plus, his cultivation skill has daily limits that cost him potential profit. Saving them 9 days of waiting makes an equal split feel completely unfair. Rang pauses to think, then asks to discuss it with his partner first. After getting approval, he hops off the call to negotiate with his friend. The chat is still begging for the legendary rice water he advertised earlier. Realizing he got sidetracked, he decides to get back to business. He posts that the first 10 bowls are free, just send a trade. The chat erupts in praise as requests fly in. He dishes out a small half bowl to each of the first 10 people. Instantly, the chat focuses on rice water, free advertising for the rice. Even after 10 minutes, Joe Rang hasn't messaged back, but there is no panic. His farming skill and fertilizer can ripen an F-grade fruit tree in 9 days. Who else can pull that off? As long as Joe Rang isn't a fool, he will seek him out. He tidies the bowls and chopsticks, then bundles the harvested straw to give the 3 camel buddies a taste. He sweats through another hour-long walk to the foot of the mountain. The 3 beasts have adapted enough to his feeding that they no longer flinch when he approaches. He slowly edges within 10 meters, taking an inch where he can. Whether Camel Bro and the others sense that he has absolutely no ill intent or are simply captivated by the fresh straw, they let him get within 2 meters. Before flapping their ears uneasily and preparing to bolt, he freezes with a friendly smile, coaxing them to come over and get their special employee benefits. He gently extends the bundle of straw toward Camel Bro's mouth. The large camel sniffs, then starts chewing in massive mouthfuls. Seeing him so happy, the other 2 wander over to get their share. While they eat, he takes the chance to observe them closely. The tallest one, the swift beast he calls Camel Bro, stands around 3 meters at the shoulder and easily weighs a ton. He feels like a tiny shrimp standing in front of him, the kind that would cry for days after a single kick. The other 2 are around 2.7 or 8 meters tall, and the smallest juvenile is roughly 2.3. This close-up look is exactly how he finally figures out why the trio has been so reluctant to join his little company. The swift camel is male, meaning Camel Bro is a guy, but the other 2 are actually female, and the smaller one is clearly their daughter. It turns out he had their names completely wrong. No wonder this family of 3 refused to join, but he always fixes his mistakes instantly. Time to adjust. Meet Camel Bro Camel Sis and Camel Nu. Now he sincerely invites the whole family to join his farm, solemnly promising full health insurance, housing benefits, paid holidays, rent envelopes, free meals, lodging, and even gourmet dishes every few days. The job only requires light daytime work and a daily contribution of manure. Such amazing benefits. What is there to hesitate about? While whispering this nonsense, he sneaks closer to Camel Nu to touch her hump. Kids are way easier to deal with. Unfortunately, even though Camel Nu is young, her parents clearly taught her never to let strange male creatures get too close. Before he can even reach, she raises her head, gurgling a warning. His hand freezes awkwardly in midair. The timing isn't right. Helplessly, he grabs another box of dung and retreats in defeat. When he returns to the oasis, it is 6 in the evening with barely half an hour of daylight left. Suddenly, Joe Rang sends a call. Request the moment he steps inside. After hours of waiting, the big moment is finally here. Joe opens by telling him that he almost lost his life. Startled, he asks what happened and if there was danger. Joe explains he got bitten by a shark while catching fish, fighting it for over an hour before barely managing to kill it. He sends a picture of the shark sliced clean in half. Talk about a beast, he gasps, completely stunned. Does Joe really have to be this absurdly strong? Quickly, Joe pulls them back to business, saying his partner let him handle the deal. Now, they just need to talk shares. Joe asks him to go first. He proposes a 60-40 split. Joe Rang guilts him, asking if Big Brother is just an empty title. He calls it heartless, complaining that the younger brother he knew is now demanding such a steep price. Our protagonist says it is just business, then asks for his counteroffer. Joe clears his throat and proposes a 50-50 split with some fish to compensate, but he cuts him off, asking if he looks starved. Joe coughs and begs for pity, crying that his own island is nothing but barren reefs with hardly any trees, real misery, but our hero counters that he is stuck in a sandy desert. Without even a single blade of grass, let alone trees, if they are talking misery, he wins. So a 60-40 split is fair. To prove his point, he snaps a quick picture of the dunes and sends it over so Joe cannot call his bluff. Joe looks and immediately drops the pity card. Next, he tries emotional blackmail, asking what he thinks of him as a person. The reply is cold. He bluntly says if he gets 60% and they get 40, then Joe is the best big brother ever. Realizing his mind games are not working, Joe switches tactics and gets straight to the point. He frankly admits he and his partner talked it over, offering 40% to him and 30 each. For themselves, he argues that since they are handing over a valuable seedling plot and some Frank seeds, it is unfair for them to take all the risk without a decent cut. Our protagonist thinks it over. Both items are completely priceless on the market right now, and trusting him with them is a massive gamble, hoping he will not just run off with the loot. Besides, in last night's trade, Joe Rang's 500 fish were slightly overweight, meaning he owes him. So he decides to throw a generous counteroffer. Brother Rang, you are a straight shooter, and I am not stingy. Let us meet in the middle. I will take 50, and you two take 25 each. Joe is absolutely thrilled for about 2 minutes. Then his face suddenly drops and he slaps himself hard. Deep down, he realizes that he and his partner are about to make a fortune, but does half a harvest after 30 days really beat 2.5 tons in 9? After 30 days, F-rank food might be common, but in 9 days it will be incredibly scarce. This share is not just a one-time payout, either. It is a continuous stream of wealth. One step ahead means everything. Starting 9 days earlier is a massive advantage. Compared to waiting 30 days, it is night and day. Their actual bottom line was giving him 70% and keeping 15 each. They were even worried he would reject that. So when he offered 60% earlier, Joe was already ecstatic, the whole bargaining act. And his fake bottom line was just him testing his luck. This generous concession made Joe realize he had just played himself big time. The smart move now is to build a lasting relationship once he secures more F-rank food. He will feel obligated to share it with his big brother, compared to the massive future gains. Giving up a small share of star crystal oranges is practically nothing. Now that the deal is sealed, there is no going back. Besides, who would complain about getting extra F-rank food? Still, Joe feels like he needs to offer a sweet bonus. He happens to have a useless F-rank blueprint on hand, so he decides to throw it in, hyping up its value to make our hero feel indebted to him. A classic friendship building trick. Joe grabs some coarse salt scraped from the reefs, some seaweed from the beach, and the F-rank blueprint from his wooden chest. He confidently initiates the deal. Once it goes through, our hero waits for the seedling plot and the promised seeds to arrive. Several minutes tick by with absolutely no action. Just as he starts to wonder if Joe is backing out, a trade request finally lands. Loaded with more than agreed, the seedling plot, the star crystal orange seed, the F-rank blueprint, 3 palm-sized crabs, seaweed, and a small bowl of salt. He asks if the package was sent to the wrong person, but the sender replies there is no mistake. He insists on sending it anyway to show his appreciation. This F-rank blueprint cost the sender 5,000 grams of fish meat through desperate begging. It was originally meant for himself, but now it belongs to him, along with some fresh crabs. Catching them almost cost his arm to a shark, but seaweed will make do. He even boiled the sea salt himself, claiming none of it is truly valuable and begging him to accept. The young man tells him he is too kind, but the sender laughs, asking if he did not share rice first. This is just returning the favor, and refusing would mean they are no longer friends. In his experience, this speech is designed to lock the favor onto him. But what the sender never expects is that he accepts the gift, but not for free. He sends back 20 grains of rice and 2 units of F-grade fertilizer. This fertilizer is incredibly valuable. He outright refuses. But the young man threatens to return everything if he does not accept, so he finally relents. He wanted the young man to owe him, but the F-rank blueprint and supplies are paid for. Total backfire. The young man completely ignores his calculations and focuses on his reward. Unfazed, he looks at the F-rank blueprint in his hands. It is a blueprint for an F-rank heated Kang, used to heat freezing shelter rooms. The system warns that lying on the bed with some common brings an unexpected surprise. Still, this heated bed is perfect for surviving the coming freeze. With the polar night approaching, he needs to gather some tricky materials right away. Stone and clay are common, but the other ingredients are tricky. But stone slabs are pretty rare, as nobody seems to know how to mine them yet. Lime is currently impossible to find, but he needs that bed. The freezing polar night is coming, and a single self-heating blanket will not save him. He sweeps the trade channel first. Unlike yesterday, he feels wealthy. He holds a massive fortune now and feels wealthy. He saves 10 seeds from his harvest. After giving 20 to Joe Rang, he still has over 100 grains left. He is a total tycoon now. Talk about a massive level up in just one day. There are plenty of ordinary items, but absolutely nothing of F-rank quality on sale. Nobody is willing to trade good gear, so he settles for basic clothes and bedding. He buys basic gear for 15 grains, then hunts for seed plots. Nothing sustainable plots are completely absent from the market. He spots a single water spring. The seller wants 5 grains for it. After some quick bargaining, he buys it for 4 and continues his shopping spree. He buys a crossbow, a cozy sofa, a fireplace, and a mattress. Adding a storage rack, the total comes to 27 grains of rice. Right before closing the menu, he spots rare, man-eating flower seeds on sale. Planting it grows a defensive pet with its own basic consciousness. It evolves up to C rank by devouring flesh or consuming high-quality fertilizer. Too hard to feed in the desert, no problem. Ultimate defense, his camel dung will turn this beast into a C rank guardian. If he had these last night, those vicious sandwolves would not have dared attack. He buys the seeds for 10 grains, along with a vegetable plot for 3. He places a seedling plot outside his wooden cabin and plants the unique seed. The fertilizer dissolves instantly, and the seed shoots up at visible speed. A metallic reddish-black spherical bud sits before him, sporting a single eye. Its vertical dark red pupil emits a chilling aura below the eye. An oversized mouth is packed with tiny bone-white teeth, standing at only about half a meter tall. What should have been ferocious ends up looking unexpectedly cute and adorably fierce. Its tag reads, Iron Petal Man-Eating Flower Growth Type. Creature, a ferocious predator that will actively attack all nearby creatures. Extremely aggressive, it possesses a simple consciousness and can distinguish friend from foe. Since it is currently a juvenile larva, he pokes its bud with a finger as tough as iron. It rubs its rear against his finger like a puppy asking for a head pat. He asks if it understands him, and it shakes its bud. Yes, unbelievable, it actually understands human speech. He tells the plant that since it has self-awareness, he will give it a name, proposing Old Tai and asking how that sounds. It sways left and right joyfully. He walks up and touches its bud to say something else, but in the next moment, Old Tai suddenly bites his left hand. Fast, despite its size, Old Tai strikes before he can even react, its teeth almost sinking into him. But wait, his hand lightens. Old Tai didn't bite him. It snatched the F-grade fertilizer he was holding and dropped it into its own seedling plot. Old Tai can fertilize itself. He tells it with a wry smile that no spirits are allowed to gain sentience these days. The fertilizer dissolves and Old Tai starts another round of wild growth. Its stem thickens and shoots up, its bud swelling from apple-sized to basketball-sized. Its teeth grow from tiny rice grains to fingertip-sized triangular blades. After reaching 1 meter, the cute, fierce vibe finally gives way to the true horror of a man-eating flower. He checks the info. 2 F-grade fertilizers eaten, and it is still a juvenile. Huge appetite. He had 15 units fermented today. 1 for the rice, 2 for Joe Rang, 2 eaten, 10 left. He steels himself and pours all 10 into Old Tai. Old Tai hits over 3 meters in minutes. Its bud is now larger than a bathtub, with fist-sized teeth. After 3 meters, its height growth stops, but the color deepens to near black, like iron. Only with the last unit absorbed does Old Tai end its juvenile phase and enter maturity. No way. Old Tai can eat that much, 10 units of F-grade fertilizer, and still not at F-grade yet. Just as he complains, Old Tai bends over and rubs against him. Repeatedly, he knows Old Tai won't hurt him, but that lipless mouth full of sharp teeth still makes him uneasy. He tells Old Tai that it is a big flower now. A really big flower, so it shouldn't act like a spoiled child or others will. Laugh at it, the single eye blinks, and welling fluid pools on the rim like tears. A majestic 12-foot man-eating flower, shouldn't it be far more ferocious and tyrannical, yet it always acts cute. Did he accidentally buy genetically modified man-eating flower? He caves at that persistent, pitiful gaze and tells old Tai to forget it, saying they are all his children and can rub as much as they like. He lets old Tai cling to him and drops the spring he just bought into the puddle. The yellow sand around it visibly transforms into soil and green grasses sprout, with the new grassland connecting to the original to form an oasis of about 200 square meters. The puddle doubles, holding more fresh water. Finally, he can bathe properly. He draws a bucket and bathes at the edge of the oasis, but notices upon his return that something is off. Old Tai, originally planted on the left, she somehow moved to the right side next to the compost bin. Lowering her head, her single eye stares unmovingly, drooling at the plot. He stares, asking old Tai how on earth she got over here along with her seedling plot. Old Tai trembles, then suddenly pulls her roots straight out of the ground. Her tentacle-like roots let her walk and not only walk but also lift the seedling plot. His jaw drops. This plant can actually fake pity, drool, and fertilize herself. Seriously, is this even a plant? After standing stunned for a long while, he remembers that old Tai has targeted the compost bin. Will his precious fertilizer be stolen the exact moment it finishes fermenting? He must act fast. He painstakingly negotiates. For his farming business, she needs rules. The strange plant must understand she needs his direct permission to eat fertilizer. If she dares to steal, he will sew her mouth shut. Once she is appeased, he is completely exhausted. Honestly, imagine having to baby a giant man-eating flower instead of a normal kid. Next, he places his bed, sofa, cabinet, and fireplace inside the wooden house one by one. The empty room finally has signs of life. Then he posts another buying note. He offers 3 grains of rice for F-grade bedding and clothes in the public chat channel. He is also hunting for weapons, armor, F-grade vegetable plots, and seeds. Plus, he urgently needs 35 units of stone slabs, offering a high negotiable price. He asks everyone to private message details. Instantly, the chat fills with curious onlookers. Yu Chang, busy roasting locusts for dinner, sees the note and realizes he can help. Since they are friends, he wants to assist. He can easily mine those slabs. He has been mining stones with his reliable E-grade iron pickaxe and developed a special technique to extract perfect slabs, though they usually sell for garbage prices on the open market. At only 3 units of wood per slab, he had basically stopped making them entirely. But knowing his friend needs them urgently, he decides to spend his entire day tomorrow mining slabs. After eating 2 roasted grasshoppers, he lies down on the hay fully clothed to sleep early. This way hunger won't keep him awake and he can start mining at dawn. But while Yu Chang is peacefully sleeping, our main character is dragged right into a massive controversy. His trade offer has triggered absolute outrage. Angry players are accusing him of being a greedy, numbered boss who only offers 3 grains of rice for F-grade items. They demand to know if a dog ate his conscience, pointing out that other players offer at least 100 grams of fresh meat. They call him completely blackhearted. Some even threaten to blacklist him forever, demanding he get out of their regional chat entirely. He posted about the rice at noon, but most people were working and missed it. Because of that, most survivors still imagine standard, tiny grains of regular old rice. The lucky few who actually drank his donated rice water try to defend him, but they quickly get completely buried. Without seeing a photo, egg-sized rice just sounds like a massive lie. So he simply snaps a brand new photo, labels it with the word rice in giant bold red letters, and activates his special auto-pin trick using his premium ID. Every 10 seconds he posts the photo 10 times in a row. The wave of questioning drops off instantly. People realize, holy crap, this is actually real rice. It turns out they completely misunderstood. 3 grains of this rice can easily fill a person up for a whole meal. 1 grain mashed into porridge can last a full day. He is genuinely a generous boss. Greedy players just wanted him to hand over 100 grams of cooked rice instead. Even though 3 simple grains can keep a survivor full for 3 entire days. The loudest trolls are turning green with regret. If he blacklists them, they are finished. Apologies and pleas for forgiveness flood the channel. He jots down a few names with charcoal before sending a quick message. Forget it, ignorance is not a Crime, he writes, they thank him for his mercy, then immediately ask, "What is for dinner tonight? Is it rice water or pot scrapings?" And he can already see the rest of the script playing out. To avoid trouble, he pretends not to notice. After this farce, more survivors remember his name and the fact that he has rice as big as eggs. People announce they will trade with him whenever they want to sell items, but while the rest of the channel is celebrating, others are furious, those with food in their hands. Trying to suppress prices, we're buying F-grade items for 100 grams of meat. His 3 grains of rice for an F-grade item is more than 10 times their offer. If everyone goes to him, how do they survive? To them, his behavior is smashing their rice bowls. Cutting off someone's path to wealth is like killing their parents. Watch out, several powerful alliance leaders in this region are starting to feel restless, but since he has just started collecting and has not caused them substantial harm, no one moves yet. The seeds are sown. Conflict is only matter of time. He does not know any of this, still busy making dinner. The finest ingredients demand the simplest cooking, so he plans to steam the 3 big crabs Joe Rang sent. The water boils, and before he can drop the crabs in, several painful screams echo from outside the door. He sets the crabs aside and peeks through the crack. Old Tai is tilting her bud back mouth, chewing, blood streaming down her stem in a bloody mess, seeing nothing else. Outside, he opens the door, runs to Old Tai, and asks what she is eating. Old Tai, afraid he will steal her food, swallows the thing in one gulp. A large bulging mass slides down her stem like a throat, shrinking as it goes, completely digested before it reaches the bottom. Just as he is still in shock, Old Tai opens her mouth and spits out a wooden treasure chest. He stares at the bloodstained chest. He heard the chat say wild treasure chests should spawn randomly, but their numbers are extremely scarce while hunting beasts. Has a high chest drop rate. Today is only the 2nd day, and he has only obtained 2 chests total. 1 wild on day 1, the compost bin. 1 is a wooden house upgrade reward, the self-heating blanket. He has been out all day today without seeing a chest shadow, so Old Tai spitting out a chest means she ate something, most likely a sandwolf. No other creatures visit his oasis, and no other creatures make those screams. He quickly praises Old Tai, telling her she is awesome. From now on, their home safety depends on her. Keep it up. He is rooting for her. Old Tai sways like she is having a seizure. He pulls a handful of grass, wipes the blood off the chest, clasps his hands, and prays to Blue Star Mother for a blessing, offering to sacrifice Old Tai's 10 years of bachelorhood in exchange for a good item, and opens the lid. 2 items appear. Screaming pepper seeds, common grade, can be planted to grow peppers so spicy they make you scream. Consume with caution. Maturation in 7 days. The screaming pepper is non-negotiable. Meals these last 2 days have been bland, and his mouth is tasteless. For him, screaming pepper is more important than salt. The great this F-rank floral quilted jacket loves praise. No ordinary wear here. Compliments actually make it warmer. Every single heartfelt praise matters. Each compliment increases warmth by 0.1%, capping at 50. Praise me quickly, louder, praise me forcefully. The coat demands attention. The polar night is 5 days out. Temperatures will plummet fast. Spitting saliva turns to instant ice shards. This jacket is vital. Survival odds up, but the jacket's personality is a bit much. Imagine being out-vanitied by a coat. He cannot help but smile. An F-rank blanket, this floral jacket, and some future materials. Soon he will have a heated bed, 3 great treasures. Who else can boast that? Today is a great day, time to celebrate. Old Tai sways vigorously, sharing his absolute joy. Dinner is served next. 3 steamed crabs and a grain of rice, a real seafood feast. After dinner, he posts the jacket details in the chat for praise. Surprisingly, the chat stays quiet. Maybe others have cold-resistant gear too. But the silence does not last long. The players soon reveal their real plan. They ask if the boss is handing out rice soup tonight. Classic move. One guy promises to praise the jacket to the max for a single bowl. Another begs for just half a bowl, promising non-stop compliments in return. These players can turn literally any conversation back into begging for food. Truly talented, he sighs, checks his leftover soup, and posts the old rules. First 10 trades get the soup, starting right now, instant chaos. Lucky winners immediately celebrate, showering him with praises and declarations of love. Some offer weird trades like salty water. Seriously, who tries to barter with that? But in the end, everyone gets their wish. The trades go through seamlessly. The hype builds up and compliments flood in for his floral jacket. Its extreme vanity is fully satisfied, boosting the jacket's warmth by 50%. He spends the evening boasting while buying 2 seedling plots for a premium. 10 grains each, midnight strikes, the compost bucket is fully fermented. He harvests 10 units of F-grade fertilizer and sets up the plots. Placing one next to his wooden house, he plants star crystal orange seeds. Water and fertilizer, intensive farming at its absolute best. Water and soil are perfect. The countdown shows over 200 hours. Exactly 9 days, they will mature on the 4th day of the polar night. Absolute magic. He is incredibly excited for this upcoming harvest. He wonders if an F-rank physique will let him fight monsters barehanded. Breaking bricks with his bare chest would be a pretty cool party trick. Next, he places 2 ordinary vegetable plots right inside his small shelter. He plants wild strawberries and screaming peppers, adding F-grade fertilizer to both. Both plots will mature in 4 days. Fresh food is practically guaranteed. With all his chores finished, he yawns, finally preparing to sleep. The desert is changing. Extreme temperatures are creeping in fast. Daytime heat is gone, replaced by a freezing 4 degrees that chills him to the bone. He rolls out his soft milk velvet mattress and grabs a simple cotton blanket. He feels instantly warmer. Finally, a good night's sleep awaits him. With the morning light, he sees his dryland rice is fully matured. He harvests, peels 10 seeds, replants, fertilizes, and waters them diligently. While he works, Yukingi runs into huge trouble, a total disaster. He slept early to wake up early today, planning to mine slabs. But waking up, pure pain, a splitting headache and ringing ears. 2 days of severe altitude sickness and no food have broken him. Heavy daily physical labor finally caught up. His body is cracking. He should rest. Instead, he remembers his promise to help his friend. Gritting his teeth, he forces himself up after enduring sickness so long. Today is no different, no food and too weak to start fire. He stumbles outside to drink icy spring water and wipe his face. After leaning against the wall, he feels just a little bit better. To save time, he grabs his survival handbook and iron pickaxe. He heads out. Any wild vegetables along the way get snatched up. He chews them down, but after 30 trips, they are scarce. With wild vegetables gone, he keeps walking on an empty stomach. A 10-minute walk takes over half an hour at this pace. He finally reaches the rocky ledge to mine cleanly from the cliff. Stomach rumbling and hands weak, he ties a grass rope around his abdomen to stifle the hunger and begins mechanically swinging his heavy pickaxe. His grandma always told him that kindness must be repaid in full. Since his friend helped him, he absolutely must return the favor. Otherwise, what kind of friend is he? Talk about extreme loyalty. While Yukingi pushes his limits, our protagonist is thrashing his new harvest. With 35 grains remaining, he now holds 165. He is a total tycoon. Breakfast is porridge with some seaweed. He did not expect 1 grain to yield so much porridge. He stuffs himself to the throat, but half is left over. The rest will spoil in this heat, and selling is too annoying. He decides to message Joe Rang to offer him the leftovers. But Joe says he is currently with his 5-year crush. He is frantically eating raw oysters to be ready just in case. Talk about a wild morning breakfast. Is he not afraid of choking? The only other friend left on his list is loyal Yukingi. The guy brought him treasure on day 1 and strawberries on day 2. Will he bring another surprise today? He decides to give him the food. From now on, half a grain is plenty, he messages him. Yukingi has been mining slabs for over an hour on pure willpower. 2 calendar-sized slabs lie at his feet. He opens his handbook. He flips to the private chat just as the message lands. Reading it after a long pause, he tells him to wait just a moment because he is working hard to finish quickly. Our protagonist is totally bewildered. What is he talking about? If Yukingi has a fever, that is going to be terrible. There is absolutely no medicine on the market on day 3. This is life-threatening. He quickly fills a ceramic bottle with warm boiled water. Adds a pinch of salt, the only thing he can do from a distance, and trades. Over half a pot of porridge, the seaweed in the bottle. He tells him he does not seem to be in good shape. No matter what, he must eat something and drink and rest. He adds that if he needs help, just ask, and he will do whatever he can. While the sick man is still hazy, he he sees the trade request and assumes the protagonist is eager for the slabs. He accepts, drops the 2 slabs in the trade box, and confirms. After that, he cannot hold on. His vision goes pitch black and he collapses unconscious. He does not know how much time passes before smelling the rich aroma of cooked rice so close he could touch it. He uses every bit of strength to crack his eyes open and sees a small pot of porridge right in front of him. He must be dying and hallucinating. Otherwise, where would hot porridge come from in a terrible place like this? And at a time like this, but it really smells good, and he desperately wants to eat. Forget it, he is dying anyway. He has endured more than 20 years of grievances. He cannot let himself be wronged, even in his dying hallucination. It is just a pity that he just made a very good friend and has not fulfilled his promise to him yet. In a daze, he eats the entire half pot of porridge with seaweed and drinks the warm salt water completely dry, then collapses again, as his body receives energy and the lost salt is replenished. His pale cheeks gain a little color, even his furrowed brows tense even while unconscious. Unconsciously relax, but extreme weakness keeps him asleep for now. He finds something extremely unsettling, even though Yu Chang'e did not reply. The trade went through and he is happy with the 2 slabs. These are materials for an F-rank heated Kang, almost extinct on the market and impossible to acquire elsewhere. Where Yu Chang'e got them, he will only know once the man comes around. He sends him another message, telling him to make sure to report in once he wakes up. Then, bundling up some straw, he puts on his straw hat, grabs his crossbow, water bottle, basket, and heads out. Today's daylight is 2 hours shorter, lasting only 8, so time is even more pressing. Only 4 more days until the polar night. Before then, he needs to lure the Camel Bro family back home so they do not freeze to mummies in -50-degree temperatures and store more dung. This way, he will have a solid fertilizer stockpile since in such bitter cold he will not be able to go out. Walking and thinking, he arrives at the foot of the small mountain. After gathering a basket of F-grade dung in the brutal sun, he notices the F-grade pile is almost gone. Ordinary dung is everywhere, but the F-grade has been depleted over these past 2 days, looking like 2 or 3 more baskets and it runs out. A true survivalist never panics under pressure. Once Camel Bro is home, he will have as much F-grade dung as he wants, but while feeding the family with straw, he is horrified to notice that the dung Camel Bro excretes here is ordinary, not F-grade. This sudden discovery throws him into a panic. His biggest advantage is his survival talent plus F-grade fertilizer for daily rice harvests. Without F-grade fertilizer, he drops to an ordinary 20% bonus, and even with his talent, he faces 2-day harvests. His yields are cut in half. He cannot accept that. He has too much unprepared lime and 5 F-rank treasures for the Stonehouse upgrade. Only 1 F-grade jacket with no F-grade pants or bedding. The expansion of planting scale, more vegetable plots and seedling plots. The Kang still needs 33 units of stone slabs, but everyone selling wants a mountain of rice. F-grade materials simply cannot run out, just as he contemplates trading for some in chat. The Camel family finishes their straw and suddenly walks out of the restaurant. He saw them hanging around here every single day. For 2 whole days, they never left. He assumed they lived here forever. He never imagined they would actually leave. His resource crisis remains completely unresolved. Worst of all, the Camel family is leaving. Seeing them embark on this completely sudden journey makes his mood crash. He desperately calls out, "Please don't go, Camel Bro." He desperately begs them, hiccuping from sheer panic. But Camel Bro just stares, basically telling him to worry about himself first. The animal family just turns and walks away, leaving him deeply anxious to check his handbook. 6 hours of daylight remain, plenty of time. He has to chase them. He has no other choice. This camel family is just too valuable. On his own 2 legs, he could never explore even a 10-mile radius of this desert. To prevent getting lost in the shifting sands, he asks Joe to trade him a massive pile of stones to mark his path. He even requests a pot of drinking water. This random request makes Joe think the young man has completely lost his mind. But once Joe learns he is tracking camels, he teaches him a brilliant trick. Using the sun shadow navigation method, he safely stays on their trail while chatting with Joe. An hour and a half later, he follows the camels up a massive sand dune. Climbing to the top, a spectacular, massive reed forest suddenly stretches out before his eyes. He stares blankly at a small pond nearby, and a system message pops up. It reveals a blessed salt flat, immune to every single natural disaster. This divine oasis has a high chance to evolve completely ordinary plants into legendary variants. The system interface even cheekily asks him if he prefers his evolved crops salty or savory. His eyes widen, a rare treasure land that can actually evolve his crops. The value is immeasurable, especially with farming as his talent. He is rich. Talk about an absolute jackpot. Following Camel Bro was the best decision he ever made. He rushes down laughing wildly and finds Camel Bro chewing an F-grade reed. The other female camels peacefully chew on ordinary reeds across this massive, dense 4-acre forest. Spanning half a football field, it surrounds a large 600 square meter saltwater pond. He notices multiple other patches of F-grade reeds, all surrounded by highly precious F-grade dung. So that is the secret. Camel Bro needs F-grade plants to produce that dung. Now that he knows the root cause, his farming talent can easily solve this. But his incredible discoveries do not stop there, as he spots some tiny plants nearby. These are premium F-grade ingredients, specifically known as tender and delicious reed shoots. Crispy, delicious, and slightly bitter, they are highly superior. Eating these shoots can permanently upgrade a person's physical strength to F-grade. The system interface adds a friendly reminder to soak them first, or face incredibly deep regret. It has the exact same physique-strengthening effect as the legendary star Crystal Orange. His heart pounds like a drum. This is easily the biggest surprise jackpot. He originally thought he would have to wait 9 long days for his first orange harvest. Only then could he finally start boosting his own physical stats. Finding a massive shortcut like this today feels like an absolute dream. To make absolutely sure this isn't a dream, he forcefully pinches Camel Bro beside him. To make sure he is not dreaming, he pinches Camel Bro. The beast grunts. The camel looks highly disgruntled, confused by this crazy human. He chuckles foolishly at first, but then realizes a serious problem. Camel Bro clearly favors the fresh shoots, completely rejecting standard F-grade feed. He insists on fighting our main character for food, ignoring all boundaries. The leader has not even eaten yet, but the underling eats first. He has Joe Rang help him gather 2 sacks, ignoring Camel Bro's protests. They scour the forest for premium F-grade shoots taller than 10 centimeters. If Camel Bro could speak, he would definitely curse this 2-legged beast. The camel has not even had a bite, yet this guy has already stolen everything. Maybe it is the wrong season, or the natural yield is simply low. There are barely any F-grade shoots, especially under Camel Bro's resentful stare. He searches several times, even snatching a half-eaten shoot from the beast's mouth. He ends up with a small bundle of just over 30. Luckily, smaller ones remain. He can harvest those later. Unfortunately, these reeds have a very slow growth cycle. They mature only once a year, unlike the fast-growing plants back in his greenhouse. While premium F-grade shoots are incredibly scarce, ordinary reeds are different. He easily fills another sack in just over 10 minutes. That is at least 50 to 60 caddies, but transporting this massive haul back is going to be tough. Listing them on the public trade channel is completely out of the question. It would show the entire region that he has a rare physique-improving ingredient. A treasure like that would instantly attract a lot of dangerous attention. Everyone would covet 30 of them, while he does not fear direct force. He knows it is better to avoid having thieves constantly plotting to rob him. To avoid unnecessary risk, he decides to recruit help from Camel Bro's family. After spending 2 days together, they have grown incredibly close. The camel even let him take those precious shoots, which proves their solid bond. Asking for a quick ride home should not be an issue, right? He looks at Camel Bro first, but immediately dismisses the crazy idea. At 3 meters tall, the giant beast is impossible to mount without a saddle. Riding his wife right in front of Camel Bro, yeah, that is a shortcut to getting pulverized. That leaves Camel Nu as the perfect choice since they are both young. More importantly, she is short enough for him to easily ride bareback. The plan is looking solid. To win her over, he gathers some fresh shoots. Feeding her the delicious snacks, he pitches his business offer to her. He whispers that he has high hopes and wants her to join his team. He slowly sneaks closer and reaches out to gently pat her hump. She seems so distracted by the tasty food that she barely even notices. Or maybe she is just getting used to his constant, shameless badgering. Thrilled, he tries to stroke her neck, but she suddenly glances back at him. His heart instantly leaps into his throat, terrified she is going to kick him. Even though Camel Nu is smaller than Camel Bro, she is still massive. Weighing nearly 1,400 caddies, she is still an absolute giant to him. She simply lets out a quiet gurgle and goes back to her meal. He exhales in relief, glad their bonding time has finally paid off. Surely she is ready to trust him now and help carry this massive load. Over time, he keeps bringing shoots, feeding Camel New, staying close to build. Trust, he even trades shoots on the channel for a halter and a bronze. Camel Bell, he finds plenty of horse saddles, but no camel saddles, even shouting. And chat gets him nothing. He tries putting the halter on Camel New, the headstall is fine, but the noseband sits over her mouth, too tight and making her incredibly miserable. He tries several times, but she either refuses to let him put it on or shakes it off the second it is secure. When agitated, she gurgles, making Camel Bro and Camel Sis turn their heads to stare. Their intelligent eyes seem to mock him as if their daughter has not even moved into his home. Yet he is already abusing her in front of her family. Is he really that arrogant, shameless jerk? But while he is busy enticing Camel New, Yusengi, who has been unconscious for over 2 hours, slowly opens his eyes. Is he already dead? After a long, confused moment, he realizes he is still resting under the rocky ledge where he was mining, right there beside his iron pickaxe. In broken stone sit an empty clay pot, a dry clay bottle, and a small dish. These items immediately remind him of dreaming about eating right before he fainted. No wonder it felt so incredibly real. It was real, but who did it? There is only one answer, his only friend. He opens the survival handbook, reading the chat messages over and over. To most people, they are just ordinary pleasantries, but to him, every single word is a miracle. Ever since Director Grandma passed away when he was 13, simple kindness had become an unattainable luxury in his heart. Over the next 10 years, his only happy moments were dreams of Director Grandma. She was the sole light in his dark life, but the world is a cruel place. He has met many people who bullied him because he was mute and could not cry out. Construction workers openly compared him to girls in hair salons, laughing about how much money it would take to have fun with him when the abuse got too much. He told them he could read lips, begging them to stop, but they did not care, refusing to let him go as his tears failed to stop them. Some had tried to approach him kindly, but he could tell at a glance they were only after his handsome face. Their eyes were full of lust. Only his friend is different, treating him like a brother. He is completely content just to have him as a mate. Now he struggles up, determined to mine slabs today. After eating, his strength has recovered surprisingly well. He needs to speed up. Before dark, he grabs the pickaxe and swings at the rocky ledge nonstop, except when his arms are too sore to move. He never stops, since day one. His incredible grit and the iron pickaxe bonus help him produce nearly 20 units of stone per hour, 3 times the average speed, but mining slabs caps at 5 units per hour, and the work is much harder. He does not care. His friend treats him well and helps in so many ways. He wants to repay that kindness. He refuses to be a useless burden who only takes. The rhythmic ringing of metal on stone continues until 4 in the afternoon. By then, only 40 minutes of daylight remain, and the slabs have piled into a small hill. But he is still one piece short of 33 units. The walk back to the stone house is at least 15 minutes. He is pale, shaking, on the verge of exhaustion washes over him. Even if he sets off now, can he make it back before nightfall? The wilderness after dark is pure suicide. He only has himself to blame for overestimating his stamina and trying to mine everything. No slabs, no safety. But he refuses to quit. He squeezes every ounce of potential from his exhausted body. Another swing, another 10 minutes. The slab is barely half chiseled. Dusty stone breaks loose from the wall. He glances over, and limestone info pops up. Smelt it and you get lime. Lime is a crucial building material. On the trading channel, the price has been heavily inflated to 50 grams of meat per unit. Nobody knows where to find it or how to mine it, yet limestone is sitting right here. A massive fortune is within reach. Yet his gaze only lingers for 3 seconds before he continues swinging. What good is treasure if you do not survive the night? He just wants to mine this final slab as an explanation to himself, nothing else. Another 10 minutes, and the final slab is in his inventory. He collapses to the ground, completely exhausted. Fainting is close. He musters his last strength to open the trade interface. Instantly, as the trade begins, a massive wave of pure relief washes over his tired body. He finally helped. Meanwhile, the young man had spent the whole afternoon outside, trying to halter a new camel, loading 2 bags of reed shoots on her back. Leading her home, old Tai greets him. He cannot even unload before a request pops up. Yu Chang's trade request is here. He assumes his friend is doing fine. Then 33 slabs appear. More surprises follow. Following the slabs, Yu Chang'e adds 1 unit of limestone, leaving him completely stunned. Limestone is incredibly rare in this region. Yu Chang'e has stumbled onto massive wealth. Next, he piles on 38 stone, 76 hay, 152 wood, and a treasure. He confirms the trade. Everything is free. A terrible feeling rises. Is his friend in danger? He fires off rapid texts. He asks what is happening. Did Yu Chang'e run into trouble? Can he help? He tells Yu Chang'e not to hold back, but there is no reply. He tries calling. No answer. The dread grows. Connecting the morning messages with this sudden trade, a terrifying pattern begins to emerge. It is highly likely that Yu Chang'e just handed over literally everything he owns, sparking worst-case thoughts. Is his condition so bad he cannot reply, or is he in deadly danger? He can only keep messaging. He silently prays his friend is safe. On Yu Chang'e's end, exhaustion is taking over. All he wants is to sleep, but he forces his heavy eyelids open for the trade. This is his last obsession. He sees the pending trade and the endless flood of panic-stricken messages. Gathering his remaining strength, he finally replies, insisting he is perfectly fine. He desperately begs his friend to accept the trade quickly, causing the young man to exhale in relief. He replies that they have not agreed on a price, but his friend immediately objects. No need, he replies, this is his thanks. Reading those words, the young man instantly realizes that something is terribly wrong with his friend. This feels like a dying message. He refuses to believe his friend is all right. Facing a life-and-death crisis, the trader still chooses to give all his possessions away. That level of trust completely changes his mindset. Before this, when dealing with the guy, he only saw a lucky partner with some potential. Their interactions were polite. Now he is genuinely worried. Carefully choosing his words, he cautiously replies, saying he does not know what the situation is, but there is always a solution and he cannot easily give up hope. He should think about his family and friends, who surely wish him well. The trader waits more than 10 seconds before replying that he is an orphan with no family, parents, or friends. Our protagonist is stunned and quickly replies, asking why he says he has no friends. Are they not friends? Our protagonist has been worried this whole time. Hearing this, the trader's eyes well up. Even with all the flaws in this world, at his life's final moment, having a true friend care means everything. He replies with thanks, calling him a friend. He tells him if he truly considers him a friend, he needs to explain his situation first. No matter what, they will solve it together as friends who should help each other. Reading the message while looking out at the setting sun, the trader replies calmly that there is no time left. He cannot return to his wooden house anymore. Our protagonist presses him on why, asking if the danger is too close. The trader says he has a severe physical issue, but none of that matters now, asking him to just confirm the trade as his final wish. Our protagonist blurts out, asking if it is because of these slabs and the limestone, out of tens of thousands in this region only he found any. It makes no sense unless he encountered a terrible accident during the search. Remembering the message from this warning about working hard and recovering soon, the items sent are very likely obtained at the cost of his life. Talk about a devastating realization for our main character. There is no doubt this tragic trader considers him a true friend. He simply has to do something to help this man. Without hesitation, our protagonist grabs 3 F-grade reed shoots and places them in the trade box. Then, with an unquestionable tone, he tells him that since he is having physical issues, these shoots can strengthen his body. Eat them immediately. The trader sees the rare F-grade reed shoots, which can also strengthen his physique, and immediately realizes how precious they are. He replies with thanks but refuses, saying he has no attachment to this world and death is just a release. Hearing this, our protagonist snaps. Release? What absolute nonsense. He tells the trader not to think he is the only orphan who is miserable. Damn it, he also grew up without a father or mother, and his relatives constantly looked down on him. The first things friends and colleagues ever said to him was about his lack of money. Even his girlfriend called him useless and broke up with him. Is that not miserable? Yet he has never Once thought about dying if he constantly sought death. All those who looked down on him would just gloat that he was useless and could not even survive. Why should he give them the perfect chance? To mock his cold ashes, he tells him never to talk about dying again. If the traitor has no family, then our protagonist will be his family from now on. If he has no friends, then he will be his friend. Besides, the traitor has just discovered valuable limestone. It won't be long before he becomes a real big shot. Admired and worshipped by everyone, those who used to look down on him and bully him will soon kneel before him, begging for forgiveness and licking his shoes. Doesn't he want to see that day? The main character sends 4 long messages in a row, then adds another telling him to eat the shoots immediately and run as fast as he can. The main character cannot understand why someone not afraid of death would be afraid of living. The miner stares blankly at the messages and then starts smiling as he reads, tears of relief flowing down his face. Exactly, he is not even afraid of death, so why fear living? Before this he felt completely helpless and lonely, thinking nobody cared about his survival. But now he has a friend who genuinely cares. He has finally felt the warmth of friendship. Is he really willing to die now? Absolutely not. He just needs to reach the wooden house before dark. Even if he has to crawl, he will crawl. He replies with a message of thanks, promising to try his best to survive. Relieved, the main character finally breathes a sigh of relief and confirms the trade. The miner doesn't even have the strength to lift a hand. Looking at the F-grade reed shoots nearby, he can only move his head inch by inch, forcing his mouth open to eat the shoots along with the dirt. Tasting pure bitterness, once swallowed, a massive surge of energy erupts from his core and spreads through his body instantly. His withered, dry body recovers its vitality. Within 3 minutes he gains back his strength, stands up, and grabs the iron pickaxe in the remaining shoots. He sprints for the wooden house without hesitation. While running, he initiates a trade to return the precious leftovers. The reed shoots worked wonders, and since he is on his way back, he returns them first. Tomorrow he will mine limestone to compensate. The main character quickly replies, telling him they can talk later and to focus on his journey without getting distracted. The miner agrees. For the next 10 minutes, the main character constantly checks the countdown and message status. With only 2 minutes of daylight left, a message arrives saying he made it, safe at last. He offers his thanks, saying he was saved twice today. Seeing him safe, the main character is in a great mood and jokes that if the miner were a girl, he would be offering himself as repayment. The deaf-mute miner stares blankly, a bittersweet thought crossing his mind. He feels a quiet despondency. Being deaf and mute, how could he ever be worthy of such friendship? Just being friends is enough. Receiving no reply, the main character worries he took the joke too far and tells him not to be upset. The miner clarifies he is just drinking water, not angry. Next, they discuss the trade details. The miner promises to gather limestone as soon as possible tomorrow to pay for the shoots, but the main character objects. That is not what he meant at all. If anything, he owes the miner. Slabs are incredibly rare on the market right now, with only 13 units available. In total, they are extremely valuable, but the miner insists those items were gifts. He expects nothing back, but the main character replies that business is business and friends are friends. Because they are close, they should keep accounts crystal clear so money never ruins things. Otherwise, a good bond can easily turn sour. The miner is left speechless. He continues, offering a special friendship price for the stone slabs at 1 grain of rice for 3 slabs, totaling 12 grains for 35 units. Lime has always been in high demand, normally trading at 50 grams of meat per unit. He will temporarily match this rate, planning to adjust things later if the market shifts. Uchim never expected such a generous offer for his 13 stone slabs. He was the one who listed all those previous slabs on the channel. After pouring in endless effort, each unit only traded for 3 measly pieces of wood. That terrible rate almost made him quit, but now 1 grain of rice for 3 slabs makes each worth 10 grams of meat. On the market, 30 to 40 units of wood or stone are traded for 50 grams of meat, a 10-fold jump. As for limestone, its value is obvious. Even if people pay 50 grams of meat, everyone knows that rice is worth far more than meat by weight. Uchim has no intention of accepting charity, quickly refusing the deal. His friend's explanation is simple. He buys supplies at this exact rate outside anyway. So why should he cheat a friend? does Uchim view him as some villain who exploits people. His solid arguments leave the boy completely speechless. Left helpless, Uchim can only admit that every single word is correct. He cannot argue back, but he still feels guilty about eating those precious reed shoots. Giving a few slabs and lime does not feel like enough to repay him. Knowing Uchim was abandoned as a baby triggers memories of his own difficult past. He understands the boy's deep sensitivity, insecurity, and fierce pride all too well. The constant need to act tough, terrified of being looked down upon. It is a weakness they both share. After some thought, he tries another tactic. He tells Uchim that those F-grade reed shoots are incredibly precious resources. How could a few cheap materials ever pay off such a massive life-saving favor? Uchim is completely stunned. The logic makes perfect sense to his young mind. A life-saving debt cannot be cleared so easily. He asks how he can ever properly repay it. Our main character calls him foolish, saying favors are for critical moments, and he currently has no way of returning the kindness anyway. Being called foolish and receiving such kindness makes Uchim's face turn bright red. His mind goes blank, entirely forgetting the details of their trade agreements. All he can focus on is the half-eaten F-grade reed shoot handed to him. He was told he is far too weak and desperately needs to build strength. Before girls start laughing at him, although Uchim tried to reject the food, our main character playfully insisted that he already bit it and would not eat saliva. Despite the harsh and teasing words, Uchim can feel the genuine care beneath. His friend went out of his way to protect his fragile, sensitive pride. This deliberate act of kindness makes Uchim experience the true warmth of friendship. It feels just like the heartwarming stories he once read in books. The transaction with Uchim cost 15 grains of rice and 1 F-grade reed shoot. In return, he secured rare lime, essential for F-grade heated kangs and upgrades. This is a massive win, acquiring a material that thousands are desperately seeking. This brilliant trade puts him miles ahead of the competition. A stone house offers unbeatable defense, proper insulation, and a spacious multi-room layout, complete with a sturdy courtyard fence and a cellar for massive supply storage. Without a cellar, materials like wood and stone sit exposed, taking up space. Next, he needs 100 units of lime and 5 F-grade treasures. Treasures to upgrade. After trading, he ties Camel New under the highing tree. He feeds her 10 units of ordinary fertilizer, fermented this morning. 2 F-grade reed shoots are blanched and served simply. The taste is secondary. The moment they hit his stomach, they transform into endless energy that nourishes and strengthens every single bone and muscle. With every passing second, his strength climbs, giving him the wild illusion that he could arm wrestle Camel New, but he won't actually try. He won't fight a beast like her. Instead, he loads stones, lifting the heavy basket with his right hand to test his limits. As a former lazy homebody, he could barely lift 40 caddies before. Now 50 to 60 caddies of stones go in, and he carries them easily. He runs 2 or 3 laps around the oasis, barely out of breath. His strength, endurance, and speed are up. This is just one shoot. If he keeps eating, he will literally be flying around like a superhero. But after just one shoot, his body hits its maximum absorption limit. No rapid power-ups through mass eating, but he is not discouraged. If not today, then tomorrow. Day 3 is still incredibly early. Strengthening now puts him ahead of most. Time to expand his plots. He needs vegetable plots to grow more shoots at the salt flats. He noticed that F-grade willow rootstocks can be used as cuttings. There are easily a few thousand waiting to be picked. Even better, the F-grade willow only takes 15 days to mature. With enough plots, he will have an infinite supply of reed shoots. The salt flats wonder can even evolve ordinary plants to F-grade. So he needs to prepare a massive number of seedling plots to drop in there. If he gets lucky with new F-grade seeds, it is an absolute windfall. He posts a trade offer in chat, 10 grains of rice for F-grade plots. 5 grains for ordinary plots, negotiable. Suddenly, everyone surrounds him. Asking what is for dinner, is there rice soup? He answers that rice soup will go to 10 people as usual, but asks for help finding plots. Finder fee is 2 grains of rice. Instantly, vegetable plots become the hottest topic. While waiting, he drops 3 grains into the pot. Just then, Joe rang messages to ask if he is busy. He had asked Joe for help earlier but forgot to thank him in the rush to eat his reed shoots. He trades Joe 5 ordinary reed shoots, telling him he just lit a fire. Come try the fresh taste. Joe Rang is not polite, he accepts and sends back a palm-sized lobster, then asks if he is in a rush to acquire F-grade plots. He says yes, and Joe immediately yells that he is an absolute beast. Joe just planted the orange, and now he has other F-grade seeds. Joe asks if this world is his biological father. He coughs and replies, "Not to get so excited, it is just pure luck." Joe then demands 10 F-grade willow seeds, with 4 clumps of willow at the salt flats. Providing thousands of units, he agrees without a second thought. Joe Rang complains he only got 2 F-grade vegetable plots from his 5 boxes today. Still, he has 7 ordinary vegetable plots and 4 ordinary seedling plots left. Our guy is completely stunned by those 5 boxes, having found only 3 in 3 desert days. That is just 1 a day. Joe Rang explains that wild chests are incredibly rare out here. Most come from hunting sharks. Since Joe is on a reef island, the waters are swarming. Joe is a seasoned outdoorsman, bold, highly skilled, and completely fearless. Plus, the Blue Star Mother gifted him a D-grade spear gun, so he kills them easily. Sharks drop chests, netting him at least 5 boxes every single day. His player number 9527 represents real strength and raw courage. Joe admits he has to risk his life for these chests while out fishing. Unlike our guy who has a ripening skill, F-grade fertilizer, and crazy luck. Joe is dying of envy. Our guy speechlessly tells him to stop complaining about luck. Especially to Scrub, who only found 3 chests in 3 days, while Joe opens 5. Otherwise, he won't resist the urge to end him. Joe sighs, asking if he thinks he enjoys hunting. He is forced to do it. He offers 2 F-grade vegetable plots, along with all ordinary plots and seedling plots, if our guy can supply 50 units of F-grade reed seeds. Our guy almost spits blood at the request. Joe is keeping 5 F-grade plots while offering only 2. He plays his card. They haggle and settle on 2 F-grade vegetable plots, plus 7 ordinary ones, and 7 seedling plots, 50 F-grade reed seeds, plus 6 units of fertilizer. The seeds are easy to get, but raw materials for fertilizer are extremely scarce. Our guy barely has any to spare. Joe is disappointed but accepts anyway. Joe secures first dibs on future F-grade reed shoots. He is incredibly straightforward. He immediately trades over all his vegetable and seedling plots first, even though the F-grade reed seeds and fertilizer won't be ready until tomorrow. This shows total trust. To reciprocate, our guy trades 10 F-grade reed shoots. He tells Joe that with his massive chest openings, more plots will surely come. These 10 shoots serve as his down payment for the plots. He has over 30 in hand anyway, and he can only eat 1 daily. Even giving 10 away won't hurt his supply before the first batch is harvested. It is smart to lock Joe in as a partner. Seeing the shoots, Joe is stunned. This is the very first F-grade food seen on the market in the entire region. If our guy can casually hand over 10, he must have a massive stockpile. These shoots are far more valuable than basic roots. Joe wants as many as possible. This will give him a huge head start. He instantly trades over 3 more plots. He solemnly tells our guy to accept these extra plots first as a gesture. He promises to prioritize our guy whenever he opens more F-grade plots. He calls him a blood brother, declaring that their alliance will last forever. Our guy is stunned but accepts, replying that they have a long road ahead. Later, he receives 3 more ordinary vegetable plots and another ordinary seedling plot. After cooking dinner and the soup giveaway, he begins organizing the plots. Once 10 vegetable plots are set up inside his house, a prompt appears. It detects 10 idle vegetable plots, asking if he wants to synthesize them. A vegetable field, the description shows that synthesis boosts crop yields up 5%, allowing different crops to grow together if timelines match. He relies on the tiniest gains. A bright flash synthesizes the 10 plots. The tiny patches merge into a 10 square meter field with deep soil. It looks much richer now. He ignores it and keeps browsing trade offers. Midnight arrives. The temperature takes a massive and sudden nosedive. Cold enough to see his breath, bundled in a heavy coat, he plants. He sows the 10 saved rice seeds, then 4 wild strawberries. Next come 20 screaming pepper seeds, followed by quick watering. His movements are perfectly practiced. He checks the status of his field. Everything should be ready by noon. Honestly, he can barely contain his excitement. He lies down but suddenly sits straight up, staring in utter disbelief. Rubbing his eyes and slapping his own face, he gasps. It actually worked. Merging those 10 F-grade plots let his talent affect the whole field. Pure excitement washes over him. His skill is fully compatible. This means absolute wealth. He's going to be incredibly rich now. Production leaps from 140 grains to 1,400, a 10-fold jump. Sure, it requires 10 units of fertilizer, but the massive harvest makes it trivial. If 10 F-grade plots make a field, can he stack multiple fields? If so, his farming talent might multiply his crops 100-fold. Stacking plots should theoretically let him create F-grade fields easily. F-grade food freedom is close. He remains restless. When he finally drifts off, he dreams of sleeping on massive piles of rice. Waking up early, he decides to get out of bed as freezing air hits. His skin freezes as brutal cold hits. Temperatures must have dropped well below zero. He bundles up. He stokes the fire, boils some water, and starts preparing his breakfast. As he cooks, he checks the chat. The 10,000 population has plummeted. Only about 9,300 people are left after 3 days. Usually, they only lost 30 to 50 people a day to beasts. But last night alone, the survival rate took an absolute nosedive. Panicked messages flood the chat with people begging for help to survive. Some desperate players plead for wood, crying that their friends did not survive. They are furious. The polar night was supposed to be 3 days away. This sudden freeze feels like a death sentence to the struggling survivors. At 2 in the morning, temperatures plunged to -10 degrees Celsius. Many people froze to death in their sleep, caught completely off guard. Most of them were players who failed to upgrade their shelters in time. A proper wooden house offers actual protection, unlike a basic straw hut. This sudden cold wave triggers an immediate price surge for raw wood materials. Cotton clothes that once cost 30 grams of meat now demand over 100. As players scramble for warm gear, major alliances flood the chat with ads. The numbered alliance advertises their quilts at a 10% discount. The alliance leader with a 4-digit rank offers cheap fireplaces and heated beds. The Solidarity Association offers down jackets with a 10% discount. They offer essential discounted tools to beat the cold, the 3. Great alliances are the oldest factions here, led by elite numbered bosses. These groups are capitalizing on the disaster, preparing to cash in on everyone. With over 1,000 members each, they are easily the strongest. As recruitment opens, people flock to them while smaller groups struggle. They simply lack a competitive edge. Seeing the chaos, he closes his book. Time to start planning. First, he needs more F-grade vegetable plots. Testing if they can merge determines his entire future path. If yes, he will go for quality and grow only top-tier crops. If not, he will mass acquire plots to focus on sheer quantity. This means mass-producing basic food. Next, he must collect F-grade dung. He needs to stockpile fertilizer before the polar night, then lure camel bro. He harvests F-grade willow as feed, since they are his future transport. They are also a key fertilizer source. Finally, he must monitor Yu Changji. If she can collect enough lime to build the heating bed and stone house, his survival odds will jump. Today, there are only 6 hours of daylight. Tomorrow has 4, then just 2. Only 12 hours of prep time remain. Whether Yu Changji can mine 200 units of lime in 12 hours is key. He washes with hot water and eats breakfast. At 9, Old Tai nudges him. He plays with the beast, feeding it 10 units of overnight fermented fertilizer. Old Tai instantly spits out a wooden chest and starts chewing on the fertilizer. The chest is heavily blood-stained, with coarse sandwolf fur stuck to it. He slept lightly last night, even groggily heading outside twice to urinate. Yet he never noticed the sand wolves. Without his loyal beast, he is done. He would not even know how he died. He needs an indoor toilet immediately. Seriously, do not go out at night. Inside the chest is a cheating jump rope. Its counter is totally rigged, so 1 jump counts as 10. A funny reminder notes that if a husband forces weight loss, use this. His mouth twitches. This trash item is only good for sacrificing. But upgrading his house to stone requires sacrificing 5 of these items. So garbage like this is absolutely perfect. He also gets a seedling plot. Plus some toilet paper, unexpected bonuses, but time is running out fast. He buys an expensive camel saddle and ties 2 baskets to Camel Nu. Riding her for the first time makes him nervous, terrified of falling off. But she walks and trots steadily, reaching the salt flats in 20 minutes. Camel Bro and Camel Sister surround Camel Nu the moment they see her. They nudge and gurgle, asking why she did not come home last night, and why she was ridden by some random two-legged beast. He feels guilty. Yesterday afternoon, he went behind the parents' backs to snatch their daughter. Using fresh shoots to coax her home, he now worries she will tell. Will the angry parents beat him up for keeping her overnight? While he worries, their family reunion ends and they return to eating. They eat calmly as if nothing happened. His courage growing, he uses reeds. He trades for 2 more sets of camel halters and 4 huge baskets. With friendly communication and a lot of hard effort, he works. He finally manages to put work clothes on Camel Bro and Camel Sister. This officially makes them company employees, though he skips the actual contracts. He waves away their promised shares, using the excuse that camels cannot read. With that added, the next stretch is pure, frantic scavenging. He harvests every last. F-grade reed, 2 trips with his 4-camel team are enough to haul it back. He makes sure to grab the F-grade reed roots to use as cuttings. Soon he has 3 full. Large baskets, maybe 500 units. The other 3 baskets hold ordinary reed roots. Next is a massive load of ordinary reed shoots, over 1,000 almost. Emptying the salt flats, finally the F-grade dung. For 3 days he carried it box by box, pure exhaustion. Now 6 large baskets in a single trip clear the salt flats and the base of the small mountain, 231 units. In total, he wanted ordinary reed and dung too, but it is already 2:30 p.m. With darkness only 30 minutes away, he heads back to the oasis, absolutely starving. He has just put rice in the pot when Yuchi suddenly offers over 80 units of limestone. He asks why she does not upgrade her house first with it. Much, she says no need, claiming she kept half. He does not believe her, not for a second. How could she mine 160 units so fast? Stone yields are lower. After thinking, he messages her to show him the other half. If it is real, he will accept. When she goes silent for a long time, he can only smile bitterly. Anyone with that much limestone would upgrade their own house first, then hoard the rest to sell at high prices for a massive profit. Originally, he thought if she upgraded first, he would gladly take second place, but this girl is on a different level. Unbelievable, right? She does not even use the limestone for herself, giving it all to him. First, terrifyingly straightforward, looking back at how they met, what he gave her was just basic food, with the most valuable item being simple F-grade reed shoots. She is definitely a friend worth getting to know deeply, so he quickly sends a message. Thanking her for looking after him, he reminds her of his warning yesterday. That business is business, and they cannot let profit harm their friendship. So he proposes they split the limestone evenly and upgrade their stone houses together. After a moment, she replies that this is fine, then withdraws. The trade sends 40 units of limestone instead and confirms. He quickly offers 70 grains of rice, but right as he is about to hit confirm, she suddenly messages that she wants him to have the limestone to upgrade, and she already has plenty of rice. He tells her upgrading also requires 5 F-rank treasures she could buy with it. She says there is no need, insisting she will just trade her limestone for them later. Then with limestone, talk about a headache. It was one thing to share the hard-earned limestone, but now she wants to give it away for free. This is beyond a simple favor. No matter how much he tries to persuade her, she will not budge. She has dug her heels in and will not listen. Fine, he decides to help her collect her own set of F-rank treasures. When he collects his, he trades 10 F-grade reed shoots and tells her that mining limestone must be incredibly exhausting. She knows the effects, do not refuse, or she is not treating him as a friend and he will not accept the limestone. She accepts. After the trade, he opens the survival handbook and checks his purchase orders. 10 grains of rice for an F-rank vegetable and seedling plot, 5 for comments. The price is negotiable. The comments below are mostly haggling over prices, but the most popular comment is a direct verbal attack on the unscrupulous merchant, Yuk Jin Hin, who maliciously inflates market prices, ruining fairness. How effective. Right away, the 3 biggest alliances in the region, numbered mutual aid and solidarity, joined forces to ban the greedy merchant, Yuk Jin Hyun, all members. Any trade with him meant immediate expulsion. No exceptions. At this moment, Lee Ryongbong was riding incredibly high. Filled with ambition, he personally built the first faction around here, the Numbered Alliance, bringing his childhood friend along to lead it. They were the only squad boasting 2 top-tier bosses, exploiting the freezing cold, with warm quilts to recruit nearly 2,000 desperate, freezing players. Now they were the undisputed largest force active on the Blue Star. Back home, Li Ryongbong was ordinary, but here, everything went perfectly. He felt like the favorite of destiny, until one small detail ruined it. Nobody named Yuk Jinhyan was buying up supplies at crazy prices. Stealing his spotlight and leaving him with nothing, his ego was crushed. It was intolerable. He messaged the other major alliance chiefs immediately. They agreed instantly, launching a massive, coordinated blockade against the rival. Any member caught dealing with Yuk Jinhyan would be blacklisted and stripped of all perks unless he begged for forgiveness publicly. Without a public apology, the ban was permanent, but here is the thing. The moment the ban dropped, hundreds of smaller groups followed suit. Their members already made up nearly 40% of the population. And with all these minor factions piling on, the scale was massive. A furious mob started spamming insults at Yuk Jinhyan while he worked. He had been busy all day, only to find this absurd drama waiting. All because of a simple trade order, the big leagues actually declared war. Opening the chat, he found himself staring at an endless wall of toxicity. Trolls called Yuk Jinhyan total trash, acting like a saint with his soup, while treating them like desperate dogs, begging for scraps for his amusement. They complained about his cheap handouts, claiming they had dignity to protect. Others whined about trading useless scraps for high-tier treasures, calling it forced. They swore he pressured players into making those trades look voluntary. They claimed his true colors were finally showing, calling him a total fraud. Yuk Jinhyan could only laugh at the sheer absurdity of their pathetic whining. He had given them free food out of pure kindness, yet here they were, shamelessly twisting the truth, but before his anger boiled over, help arrived. A massive pinned message popped up, warning the big alliances to back off. It was Zhou Rang, declaring that he would stand by his brother's side. He promised to fight them to the bitter end, warning their members directly. They would not get a single speck of food from his massive stockpile. Ranked within the top 10,000, Zhou Rang was a high-end market giant. He controlled the best resources, and his sudden intervention instantly silenced the trolls. Their keyboard warriors quickly lost steam as another power player stepped forward. Within 10 seconds, a top ranker named So Wangang issued his own threat. He openly declared the three major alliances as his personal enemies. All trades with them were instantly terminated unless Yuk Jinhyan cleared them. They could forget about ever purchasing high-quality meat from his massive supply. With that, Huang Gong's reputation in this entire area instantly rises to match Zhou Rang's. He has been selling massive beast meat since day one. He is a powerhouse, now two bosses back Yuk Jinhyan. This makes everyone realize a massive war is about to erupt, those with real foresight shut up. Meanwhile, Li Ryongbong tags them. Li Ryongbong tags Zhou Rang and Huang Gong with a warning. We have thousands of members and 4 numbered bosses. Think of the consequences, but Zhou Rang just laughs. Li Ryongbong has lost his mind. Does he rely on him for food or beg for his salary? Why should anyone coax his wrath? Is he their dad, then? Huang Gong chimes in, calling Li a good boy who needs some candy. This makes Li Ryongbong absolutely fume. Since they refuse to cooperate, he vows to sanction both of them. Is he really that special? Li Ryongbong warns them that they are now sworn enemies of the alliances. They will regret this. Suddenly, Zhu Wang steps in. He clarifies that Li Ryongbong only speaks for his own faction. The Mutual Aid Alliance is actually only targeting Yuk Jinhyan. They will not get involved. Then Wang Gupdong of the Solidarity Association speaks up. He tells Zhou Rang and Huang Gong they have no plans to fight them. They are dealing with the issue itself, not targeting individual people. If Yuk Jinhyan follows rules, they will withdraw. All the onlookers are completely dumbfounded. How did these aggressive giants suddenly become so incredibly easy to talk to? Li Ryongbong is absolutely furious because they had agreed to stand united. They were supposed to stand and die together. Yet when things got tough, he was left playing the villain while they chickened out. Now Yu Chang'e pins a massive bombshell. She uploads a screenshot of limestone item info, and the chat instantly explodes. 4 days in this world, 99% have built wooden houses. But everyone is stuck needing lime. 10,000 are searching, with prices inflating to 50 grams of meat. Now Yu Chang'e posts her lime info, revealing she has plenty. Desperate players tag her frantically. Her private messages instantly skyrocket past 999. She writes, she knows everyone is in a hurry, but they shouldn't rush because theirs. Yuk Jinhun is her best friend. Anyone who slandered him will be blacklisted from her logs. One by one, and they can forget about buying lime for the rest of their lives. Start panicking now. The boiling chat instantly falls completely silent. Then countless users begin cursing the three alliances for their shameless behavior, while praising Yuk Jinhun's righteous soup and high buying prices. Those who targeted him now apologize, cursing the alliances. Totally misled. Meanwhile, the three major alliances and hundreds of smaller groups are collectively losing their minds. They had finally waited for the lime, only to receive a brutal rejection. They were mercilessly informed that they had permanently lost their right to make a purchase. The leaders are completely sick with regret, wishing they had just waited. Just long enough to get that precious lime. Suddenly, Wang Gukdong sends a message. He calls it a misunderstanding, claiming those guys are his good friends. Since they are close brothers with him, Wang Gukdong figures they are family now. Talk about a classic case of accidentally attacking your own close allies. But he completely ignores this garbage and sends the massive announcement he had prepared. Tagging Lai Ryong, Bong, Ju Wang, and Wang Gukdong, he lays it all out. Since they claim he blocked their path to wealth, fine, he will show them real ruin. If they really want a war, then they can fight him right to the bitter end. Anyone who backs down now is a complete coward. Then he uploads a brand new purchase order. 2 caddies of reed shoots or 20 grains of rice for frank vegetable plots and seedling plots. He is also buying various frank treasures and cold-resistant items, offering 1 caddy of reed shoots or 10 grains of rice for ordinary vegetable plots. And seedling plots, if you have other good items, screenshot them and leave a message. Right below the order is a massive transaction blacklist targeting those 3 major alliances. And hundreds of smaller alliances. Once on this list, it is over. They cannot even leave messages, let alone trade. The public reaction is absolutely massive. Way bigger than Yuchchang's previous bombshell. Lime was great, but Stonehouse upgrades are massive, requiring resources like 5 frank treasures that normal players can only dream of. Truly out of reach for most. Besides, lime only really mattered to top-tier bosses. But this new order affects literally everyone in the region. They offered 100 grams of meat for frank treasures. He gives 20 grains of rice. Rice, that is a full 600 grams, 6 times their price and far more filling. The offer for reed shoots is even wilder. 2 caddies gets you 1,000 grams. Even an idiot knows who to sell to after seeing these sky-high rates. Now will the 3 major alliances match this? If they do not, they get absolutely nothing. Not a single scrap, but if they do, their pathetic blockade order becomes a complete joke. Either way, their proud blockade is dead on arrival. Talk about a complete power move. He is single-handedly setting the market prices for the entire region now. For the ordinary folks, who immediately start celebrating in the global chat. Everyone praises the boss for finally allowing them to have a full, warm meal. They had long been sick of those alliance vampires who let workers starve all day. From day one, the boss's prices were far fairer than those greedy parasites. People are ready to curse those alliances out if the chat was not moving so fast. But for those in the blacklisted alliances, panic sets in immediately. They could have gotten 600 grams of rice instead of a measly 100. Some players even suggest acting as middlemen, buying low to resell to him for profit. Others shout that they just found a massive business opportunity. But they are quickly told to keep quiet before they ruin their own secret hustle. People realize he only blacklisted the actual alliances, not the individual players. Leaving the alliance to trade with him is the smart play. Instantly, alliance leaders are flooded with thousands of resignation messages. Their massive alliance of nearly 4,000 players instantly shrinks by more than half. Liang Bong and Zhu Wang are absolutely furious and panicking. Who could have guessed there? 3 grand alliances were so incredibly fragile. Wang Gukdong is frantically sending voice messages to Zhou Rang and So Hang Gang for help, but Zhou Rang is too busy introducing a new friend to him. So Hang Gang is Zhou Rang's childhood friend. He recently retired from the Special Forces and landed a primeval forest on arrival. The Blue Star system gave him a D-rank trap skill, giving him endless food and chests to open until his hands ache. Every single day, the F-rank seedling plot they used for the Crystal Orin deal was actually unlocked by him. Our hero thanks So Hang Gang for his support. and they quickly get acquainted. Right after, Zhou Rang changes the subject and tells him the three great alliances are a joke, so he should not raise prices so high just to spite them, so Hang Gang warns him that he heard from Zhou Rang that his rice can be harvested once a day, but the output of a single F-grade plot is limited if he cannot provide that much rice later. His reputation will suffer. He just smiles and tells them not to worry. The price hike isn't just out of spite. As time passes, more players are finding food, and those listings keep climbing. Seeds for various grains and crops are always in short supply, meaning almost everyone has their own plots now. It is not just a lucky few, otherwise seeds wouldn't be this incredibly scarce. Anyone with a seedling plot will start gradually harvesting soon. Even without fertilizer, by day 7, once the polar night descends, massive amounts of food will flood the market. These 3 days are the final chance to acquire massive resources with food. After 3 days, raising prices will be too late. His friends are smart and immediately understand, both following suit to raise their own prices. When only our protagonist had done it, Liang Bong figured a single person couldn't control a market of nearly 10,000, but seeing 2 more join, he genuinely thinks they've gone crazy. Isn't it better to buy things cheap? Why raise them 6-fold? Are they completely insane? Our protagonist doesn't care what Liang Bong thinks. He checks the incoming messages under his trade. It is both painful and exciting. These unprecedented prices are drawing out premium items rarely seen on the market. F-rank seedling plots, F-rank cold weather gear, and F-rank weapons. His only headache is rice. He has 25 from before, plus today's 140, totaling 165. 20 is for seeds, 15 went to Yu Cheng. After eating, he has 120 left. Last night's crops are almost ripe, but a single plot needs 100 grains for seeds, so post-harvest only 40 grains are usable. Fortunately, almost all the ordinary reed shoots from the salt flats are still around. Over 1,000 shoots at 20 grams each make 60 or 70 caddies, which will last a while. He sends 2 caddies of ordinary reed shoots to Zhou Rang and So Hang Gang, and 5 caddies to Yu Cheng. His bond with Zhou Rang is quite good, but there's always a hint of mutual benefit. Yu Cheng is different. He provided slabs and lime before and stood up for him just now completely selflessly. To reciprocate, he begins selecting items listed under the orders. First, F-rank seedling plots. He wants to quickly gather 10 F-rank vegetable plots to see if they can synthesize into an F-rank vegetable. He needs to mass-produce F-grade reed shoots. After searching, he finally finds 2 F-rank vegetable plots and immediately buys them both for 60 grains of rice. With 1 traded from Zhou Rang, he now has 7 F-rank vegetable plots. 2 F-rank seedling plots are also added, along with 4 caddies of ordinary reed shoots each. Next up, the spring. Believe it or not, the oasis is only 200 square meters, not even as spacious as some large apartments, leaving many materials sitting out in the open. If he actually upgrades to a stone house, 200 is not enough. He needs separate rooms and a courtyard. Looking through more than 300 pages of messages, 8 miniature springs are up for sale, plus an unexpected surprise, an F-rank small spring treasure that produces daily freshwater. This is the true foundation of an oasis. Each small spring expands the oasis by 1,000 square meters and randomly spawns a small patch of forest. He secures the 8 miniature springs easily for 16 caddies of reed shoots. The small spring seller insists on 60 grains of rice and absolutely refuses to budge. Honestly, 1 small spring equals 10 miniatures plus a forest. It is no loss, so he buys it without haggling. F-rank pants and a quilter next. The seller only wants rice. He schedules the trade for an hour later. Since rice is the only hard currency, borrowing fish and meat from Zhou Rang and So Huang Gang will not work. There are so many good items in messages, but he can only drool until tomorrow afternoon's harvest. Suddenly, the chat erupts with activity again. People are boasting about how the boss really keeps his word. They just traded an F-rank vegetable plot for 20 grains of rice, 3 or 4 days of full meals. Others desperately beg him to send them rice water over the next few days. One brags about asking for reed shoots because he is sick of eating meat. Another smugly announces he traded a small spring for 60 grains, asking if he is showing off. Others beg him for leftover rice water, crispy rice, and washing water. Even scrubbing water, offering to lick the bowls clean so they sparkle. It is classic dark humor, happiness built entirely on other people's suffering. While countless people rejoice at his high prices, others curse the three great alliances. Li Ryong's 18. Generations of ancestors are getting dragged through the mud. Everyone curses him for completely overestimating his power. Not buying at high prices was bad enough, but coming up with this terrible trade blockade not only makes them lose face, but drags so many people onto his blacklist, leaving them to watch others feast while they cannot even get a single sip of soup. Li Ryong tries to fight back online, but he is 1 against 1,000. Even with his trump card sanctioned threats, no one takes him seriously. The boss's 20 grains of rice and 2 caddies of reed shoots are highly tempting. Why would they shamelessly sell to a useless fool, offering only 100 grams of meat? Li Ryong rages, asking if he has to spoil them like a father. Overwhelmed, he shuts down the chat. If he doesn't look, it is as if the insults don't exist. No problem, but he cannot escape the fury of the other two big alliances and hundreds of smaller factions. In their massive group chat of nearly 200 members, furious messages demand that he give a proper explanation. The leader, Li Ryong, has completely lost his earlier high spirits. He doesn't dare type a single word. After a long commotion, Wang Gupt of the Solidarity Association finally speaks. He tells everyone to quiet down and listen. With the third most powerful faction stepping up, the rowdy group falls silent. He explains what they tried getting Huang Gang to mediate, but were completely ignored, even tagging Yuk Jinhun. He didn't reply in chat, not a word. It shows Yuk Jinhun is incredibly arrogant, completely disregarding their hundreds of alliances and refusing to back down. No compromise. Naturally, the bosses agreed. Honestly, the moment Yu Chang'e posted her stock, many wanted peace, because limestone was just too important. In their minds, they were alliance leaders, prominent figures humbling themselves to reach out, which should have been an honor. But get this, he just blacklisted them, leaving zero room for explanation. Talk about ungrateful and overly hostile. Soon, someone asks President Wang, since that Yuka fellow doesn't show respect, how do we curb his arrogance? Wang Gukdong sneers, saying the method is actually very simple, and they do not have to do anything except wait and watch him make a fool of himself. But wouldn't doing nothing just let him gain the upper hand? Everyone do not get worked up. There are nearly 10,000 people here and only 3 are buying at high prices. Even if they stuff themselves, how much can they really consume? So they do nothing. When the people selling resources realize they can't sell their stock despite Yucafellow's high prices, they will naturally come crawling back. Their group controls 70% of the food here. Aside from selling to them, who else can people turn to? In 3 days, the eternal night arrives, which will trigger massive panic hoarding of resources. At that point, forget about raising prices. They'll be lucky if they don't have to lower them. Those holding the food are the real bosses in this market. Buy if you want or sit there and starve. Plus, the limestone issue is easy. Even if Yu Chang'e claims to be Yuk Jinhun's friend, what even is a friend? Aren't friends just meant to be sold out? Talk about a toxic mindset right there. If she isn't selling, the price isn't high enough, so they just need to find someone to contact Yu Chang'e, offering 100 grams of meat per unit of limestone. If that fails, and go to 200, 300, or even 500. Everyone's loyalty has a price. The crowd cheers in agreement. Instantly, a man named Bang Jun eagerly steps up to volunteer. Before connecting with him, Yu Chang'e had been gathering resources by selling stones. Recognizing her incredibly stable output, the two became close business partners and agreed on long-term trade. When they ordered the blockade, he participated personally. Mostly staying quiet, he feels his odds of negotiating are high. If successful, he gains both massive prestige and a sweet cut of the profits. If the agreed price is 500 grams of meat, why not pocket the extra 50 or 100? Driven by greed, he immediately messages her to ask if she is online. Yu Chang'e is meticulously scanning chat logs, blacklisting everyone who dared target Yuk Jinhun. At first, she doesn't even want to reply, but on second thought, when she sold him stones before, he never tried to lowball her, leaving a bit of goodwill. So she replies to ask if anything is wrong. Bang Jun immediately reports the quick response to the alliance, and Wang Gukdong eagerly urges him on. He tells her he wants to buy limestone at a premium price, saying whatever price she demands, he won't bargain at all. Sounding sincere, she replies honestly that she has absolutely no plans to sell right now, but Bang Jun pushes, begging her not to reject him so quickly and leaving the pricing entirely up to her. He offers 300 grams of meat per unit, but she flatly refuses. He still calls her his good brother, insisting their partnership was always great and pleading for a favor. He asks for some respect, raising the offer to 500 grams, but she only sees a stubborn pest who refuses to leave, so she blocks him, receiving no reply. Bang Jun assumes she is carefully weighing the offer. He does not press her, opting to brag about his progress to the group, earning praise, nearly 200. Wealthy players eagerly await the deal. Meanwhile, by 4:20, her backyard crops are fully matured. The 4 wild strawberry plants have exploded, yielding nearly 100 bright red, thumb-sized berries. Beside them, the 20 screaming peppers have shot up, growing over a meter high, packed with twisted green pods. Even before the spicy aroma fills the room, she harvests 290 green peppers. Enough for a month, no need to replant yet. She also harvests 145 rice grains. That includes 100 base grains, 40 from F-grade fertilizer, and a 5% field bonus. She saves 100 seeds for planting tonight, reserving 5 for her immediate meals. She trades the remaining 40 for the basic pants and quilt agreed on earlier. With these fresh ingredients, she sends some to Zhou Rang, So Huanggang, and Yu Chang to trade for the basic reed roots and fertilizer agreed on last night. She receives 2 fresh fish and a massive slab of boar meat as friendly gifts. Just as she sits down to enjoy her reward, a strange choking sound echoes from outside. Peeking through the wooden crack, she freezes. Her plant creature, Old Tai, is aggressively gnawing on Camel Bro's hump. Despite the camel squealing out in pain, he retaliates by clamping down on Old Tai's green stalk. Meanwhile, Camelese and Camel Nu are resting under the tree, munching on her gathered reeds while casually watching the fight. Completely indifferent, these two are fiercely craving each other's bodies. What a disaster. She bundles up in her warm gear and steps out to break them up. Night fell long ago, sending the temperature plummeting below freezing. The moment she opens the door, an icy gust hits her, making her stumble. Frost carpets the ground. This weather is insane. 30 to 40 during the day and below 0 at night. Absurd. She plays peacemaker, but no matter how hard she begs, neither creature will budge. Frustrated, she finally gives in, using fertilizer and tender reed shoots to coax them like children, finally getting them to bury the hatchet. Since she is out, she drops her water springs into the tiny puddle. The very next moment, the yellow sand surrounding her territory transforms into fertile earth, sprouting endless lush green grass to form a huge oasis. This expanded terrain is roughly the size of 4 basketball courts. To the north, a grove of lush green oyster trees stand tall, 10 in total, adorned with golden flowers. The center puddle has expanded significantly, covering an area of 10 square meters, forming a small pond. The water is over a meter deep, crystal clear with a thin layer of ice on top. Grass carpets the oasis. The camel family, seeing so much fresh food, stops eating reeds and starts nibbling the greenery. She realizes she needs to quickly build a sturdy shed to keep them sheltered and contained before they devour the entire oasis. Back inside for dinner, she cuts F-grade reed shoots and blanches them to remove bitterness, stir-frying everything with boar meat and adding screaming peppers. The finished dish is sensational. Next, she pan-fries the fish Zhou Rang sent, using rendered wild boar oil, boiling it down before setting it aside.